Hi, everybody. Hello. Hi, it is I, Trooper SJP, and this is the Academic Foxhole. And it is Saturday, and we are playing the Outer Worlds today. And I realize I said that with a kind of a tone. That's because we're gonna see how much playing we get. Hey, everybody. Yeah, thank you for the space. I'm wearing my dot shirt today. Hi, everybody. Time of Gift says, from last time, we want to talk about internal versus external locus control. And that is true, I do. Hey, everyone. Hi. You know, we're doing the stream today. Let me see. I want to talk about internal versus external locus control. Very much so. Hey, Critwitch. Yeah, you know, so I have not streamed this week, which makes me very sad for two reasons. One, I got hit by a car on Monday, and that sort of like threw off a lot of my work schedule for the week. And then also I had these major deadlines that all came up as a surprise, and one of them I got done, which was really great. The second one I got the first half done, the second half I'm going to finish this weekend, which is fine. Also, I would rather have external locusts. Internal locusts sounds like it might be an issue. Yeah, one doesn't really want to have locusts at all. What else did I want to tell you? This is important. Let me think. I'm streaming tomorrow. Yeah, so Wednesday I was supposed to stream, but the car accident was not great. Thursday I had this deadline I was having to deal with because I wasn't able to work Monday or Wednesday. Okay, good. Friday, I couldn't do Night's Black Agents because Greg has COVID. And then today's Saturday. Ta-da! So, but I'm here. Internal locusts are fine if you're a worm that walks. Yes. Tomorrow is going to be, at noon, is going to be Spy Team 67. I've got prep I've got to do for that, including trying to find some files. I was like, where did those files come from? And that is a thing that I need to do. 100%. But I'm going to do that, and it will be fine, right? Yes. So anyway, that is
name game.
The name game, and I've got Krillin too. Come on, everybody! I say now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name, I treat it like it wasn't there, and then a B on F, on M will appear. And then I say bo out of B, then I say the name, then banana, fanner, info. Then I say the name again with an F, very plain, then a F, fi, and a mo. And then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't a name that I can't rhyme.
Name game.
Krellin, Bobellin, Banana, Fana, Fofelin, Fee, Fi, Mo, Melon. Krellin, the Melon Felon, Silimithio, Bobilibithio, Banana, Fana, Fofelimithio, Fee, Fi, Mo, Melimithio. Silimithio, Volpez, Bobopez, Banana, Fana, Fofopez, Fee, Fi, Mo, Mopez. Volpez, the name game. Woo. Hey, thank all of y'all for the resubs. It is much appreciated. You know, I gotta tell you, what a time to be alive. I'm going to just say that. Also, I'm going to tell you all right now that I have Pez, and I'm going to have them. Grill's like, I need to change my name to make it harder for Trooper. I mean, possibility. Yeah, everybody. So we've got this game tomorrow, Spy Team 67. I've not put out a tweet for it, but I'm going to do that after our stream today. What I'm doing after stream today is doing the getting stuff ready for the RPG tomorrow. It's probably going to be a 2-shot. We'll see how long it takes them. And so that's what I'm doing. Pez, do I have enough? Volpez, I do have enough for the whole class. It's just that you're not in the same physical space, but if you were in this same physical space, I would definitely have enough Pez for the whole class. I want you to know that. Absolutely. Barrett's like, you need. See, the thing about having a dispenser is it just takes more time. It slows down your eating of the Pez, and I just don't even know what the point of that is. Let's see. What a time to be alive. Rather like being a Girondin during the Reign of Terror. Time of gifts. Time of gifts. Time of gifts. Time of gifts. I love you right now. I need you to know this, and I'm going to tell you why. So, while I do that, by the way, oh, wrong one. Here we go. Woo! I'm just going to pull up the game while we're here. Yeah, good. Audio's good. I'm going to just do that because I have things to share with you, and I feel like we should probably be moving to a new planet while I do that, because, what is love? You know, PH, don't hurt me. You know, just don't hurt me no more. So, I do want to talk about internal versus external versus control, but right now, because of Time of Gifts, I have to talk about the Gironde. So, when I was in high school, yeah, the Reign of Terror was a part of the French Revolution where all the heads got chopped off. Yes, so when I was in high school, we did this very special thing for the French Revolution, which was like this. We did a special project, and the special project was like this. They gave us a list of people, and each one of us had to choose one of those people to be for our section on the French Revolution, and we had to go and basically research who that person was, and then give a bit of a report on who that person was. Like, basically, we had to write a bit of a diary for that person, and, like, at, like, 3 different moments or whatever, and then we had to give a report at the very end about what happened to our person, if they survived or not. It was, like, at the very end, like, a kind of like a, you know, kind of a bit of a thing. And I will say that I ended up learning way more about the French Revolution than I think a lot of people did, like,
so then I told him,
at all.
Ha ha ha. That tickles.
How
odd.
And
No, don't desist. I think I might like it. Further data collection is required for accurate assessment.
I don't know what you two are up to, but it seems a little saucy, is all I'm gonna say right there. We need to... I feel like it's not Gorgon that we need to go to, right? I feel like it's... By the way, I'm going to tell you about the Giron. This is really important. And then we can do Man in High Orbit. This is where we need to go, because that's important. We need to go here to Olympus so we can go and get that last person. Let us fast travel there. Okay. Hello. Have you seen Churchill's Secret Agents? Oh, I have. Oh, Millie. I have.
Their intentions are currently indeterminate. Once I deduce their intentions, I will play one of 2 audio signals. A cheerful fanfare if they are friendly, alarms if they are hostile. Their intentions are no longer unknown.
Oh, status report.
The unknown vessel has deployed a boarding mechanism. They will attach themselves to our airlock and attempt boarding shortly. That sound indicates that a boarding mechanism has successfully attached to our airlock.
What?
Captain, I am pleased to inform you that we are currently in the process of being boarded.
You're not supposed to be pleased to tell me we're being boarded, Ada.
Programmed to simulate joy and excitement at the opportunity to test my limited defensive capabilities. Captain Hawthorne installed a lethal shock trap on our airlock in the event of an invasion. I am prepared to deploy this trap at a moment's notice.
Who are these people? What do they want?
The ship appears to be a decommissioned storage vessel. The crew are either pirates or freelancers. My opinion of their competence is low.
Well, I'm a little bit sassy, so let them know I'm flattered, but I wish they bought me dinner first.
That is unlikely. Judging by the state of the invading ship and the competence of the boarding party, I deduce they are incapable of paying for dinner.
That's a lot of
Their
shade.
ship is using a tracking device too sophisticated for their primitive astrogator. I conclude they are receiving
Name
outside
game.
assistance. If you prefer to make an escape, I can disable their boarding mechanism. However, as long as that tracking device remains on board their ship, they will be able to find us again.
I've got a name game. The name game. Come on, everybody. I said, now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name, I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B on F, on M will appear. And then I say bow at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fanner, and foe. Then I say the name again with an F, very plain, then a fee, fi, and a mo. Then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't a name that I can't rhyme. Lonku, lonku, babonku, banana, fanner, fofonku, fee, fi, momonku. Lonku, the name game. Thank you, Lonku. Thank you for that. Hey, I was in an accident. I could play again. Okay, so this is what. Thank you, Krellin. So also time. I'm thinking like 3:30 ish for my end time. So the person I got was Madame Roland, Jean-Marie Roland Manon de la Platière, who was Madame Roland. And Madame Roland, it turns out there's very difficult to, like, I went to the main library, like I took a bus all the way downtown, went to the main library, and there was very little on her that you could find, and most of it was in French, irritatingly, which was not my language. At that point in time, it was Spanish. So I've got some Spanish and German, but my French is, at that time, was non-existent, and now is just bad. But so Madame Roland was married to this guy named whatever, Roland, Jean Roland, whatever, doesn't matter. Well, I mean, it does, but it doesn't. So they were part of a group called the Gironde. He was like one of the heads of the Gironde, and she would run a salon, and she would invite all these people to her salon, and basically all the people that would come to her salon were the people who made up the Gironde. And the Gironde were a group who were some of the primary initial movers of the revolution, the French Revolution. But they wanted like to basically have a constitutional monarchy, right? They wanted to like let's have a constitutional monarchy. Let's kind of try to do this like in a way that we change things, but like, you know, and they did that. And now it turns out that Madame Roland was like, ooh, this guy Robespierre, he's a problem. He seems like not a cool guy at all. He seems to be a problem. So she's like, hey, husband, we need to get rid of this guy Robespierre because he is dangerous and bad. And so he was sort of like kicked out of the Gironde. And then Robespierre formed the Mountain. And then the Mountain basically did a second revolution. And they basically kicked out the Gironde. Like they basically did a revolution against the Gironde. Robespierre did. And so like basically the French Revolution happened in more than one stage, right? And the Gironde was part of that first stage. And then Robespierre and the Mountain was part of the second stage, and they came in, and they basically went to arrest lots of people who were in the Gironde. And what's really interesting is that they arrested Madame Roland, but not her husband. Like, her husband was technically like one of the leaders, and she's just a woman, but Robespierre knew that she was like the smart one and the one who was all that stuff, and so they arrested her, and they put her in prison. They didn't arrest her husband. So she was in prison for like the whole time, and she was quite charming, Madame Roland, and she was able to charm her guards into allowing her to have paper and pens. Yeah, revolutions do have a way of coming back around. They do. And so she was able to charm her guards into allowing her to have paper. So she wrote her autobiography while in prison waiting to be murdered. And I wish I could read her autobiography, but at the time, it was not available in English. It was only available in French, but it is now many years later, and I wonder if it has been translated. Yes, it's on Kindle. Hey, check it out. check it out. It has now been translated into English, which means I can get it. Oh, this is really exciting. This is very exciting. I need to... is there a version of this? Oh, look, and it is in paperback, too. I can get a paperback version. Oh, so exciting. Hey, everybody, guess what? I am going to get this book right now. I want you to know it as we're speaking, because we just... Thank you, by the way, thank you, Time of Gifts, for this right now. I'm going to add this to my cart so that I have this book, because I need to have it, because, you know, this is important to me. So, sorry. This is the thing that's really important, because I have to tell you the big moment that was, like, really important and interesting to me. So, hey, Hawkeye, how are you? So, all right, I have this now in my thing, and, okay, I feel like, oh gosh, y'all, I'm so excited by this. Because when I was doing this, I was not able to get... I could not read her autobiography, which she wrote while she was in prison, waiting to be guillotined because Robespierre did not like her. Right? Like, and I was like, I wanted this so badly, but I could not get it. I wonder what the difference is between those two things. Oh, well, it looks like this is newer, so we'll just... All right, so anyway, look. So she wrote her autobiography while she was waiting in prison to be assassinated. And, oh, I will tell you, Hawkeye. And then, so time ago, chapter called Little Acorns. Yes. And then what happened was, Thomas Paine was one of those people that visited the sun. Valtiel, yes. See, by the way, thank you. And when she was killed, they brought her up to the guillotine. And they're like, do you have any last words? We're going to kill you, right? And she said, Liberty, oh, what crimes are committed in thy name. That's a translation. And I remember being, right, that was like, she was right there about ready to be, like, guillotined. And they wanted her to, like, I don't know, break down. I don't know what they wanted from her. But that's what she said. Right before they killed her, she said, Liberty, oh, what crimes are committed in thy name, purportedly. And so Madame Roland was this person that I had, you know, that I got to learn about, and she was a member of the Gironde. And so you did not want to be a member of the Gironde during the Reign of Terror, because Robespierre had a big old axe to grind about all of them. And, you know, yeah. Hey, Prax. Hey, Slime Mirtha, how are you all? So that's Madame Roland, and I just wanted to share with you, like, my personal investment in her story, because how epic is that? And speaking of the French Revolution, do you know what I have? I'm pretty sure I have the Scarlet Pimpernel GURPS book, GURPS' Scarlet Pimpernel, which is all about role-playing during the French Revolution, and I really feel like I should do a short shot, a French Revolution miniseries right now. I really feel like I should, because I think that'd be really great. Oh, now I'm just thinking about it. Now you've made me think about it. Time of Gifts. Thank you. And now I have thoughts. Scarlet Pimpernel music stuck in my head. See, this is what I'm trying to say, right? Can I tell you? Can I just say this? Look. Oh, sorry. You can get us out of here? How?
Yes, Captain. I am capable of deploying the Unreliable's articulated thrusters to dislodge their ship from our own. This is a temporary solution, however. A permanent solution may require your personal intervention.
Oh, I think we should deal with this now. Right? I think we should deal with this now.
Understood, Captain. I will be deploying the Unreliable's
Thanks.
lethal deterrence system. Please approach the airlock and enjoy the show.
Worrisome. Before we go out there, I'm going to just eat some food because, as you know, we have a food situation where apparently my character needs to eat food, which I don't even know what that's all about. So let's do this purple berry lunch, which should make it good for us. Um,
Now
okay.
initiating warm welcome protocol.
Okay. Ready. Play some Blackadder in that miniseries. Ooh, yeah. Think of some good French names.
Ada really could kill us all.
Yeah. By the way, we discovered that Douglas Sills is in the new HBO series called Gilded Age. Ooh. I think we have to go out there. This Girondin gesture is going to send me to the Wikipedia hole. I can feel it. Look, because here's look. I have a lot of thoughts about history. Who are we taking with us? We're going to take Nyoka because yes, we're going to take Nyoka and Ellie. Yeah, right? Right? Yes. Yes. By the way, I'm doing really well in terms of encumbrance. Just so you know. Yeah, right? They seem like okay. So, I just want to say side note, there's so much it makes me a little bit sad that historical RPGs are like the least popular of all the genres. That just makes me sad because history is full of so much excitement that you can do. Prax ran that Peninsular War game that was really fun. There's so much you can do, and it just makes me a little sad that that's all. We have some villains here. I'm gonna also note that I am really good. It also is kind of weird to me that I think I just lost my train of thought. I did. I lost my train of thought. It's fine. We're gonna go and find out who these people are and probably kill a bunch. Oh! I remember what I was gonna tell you. I emptied out my encumbrance. I really did. So I want you to be proud of me that I've got I'm very low on encumbrance, so I can just take all of the things. Also, we're gonna steal everything here because they're trying to board us. So I feel like it's okay for us to just take all this stuff. Hopefully, we can ask them questions before we kill them all, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Stone Age RP. Oh, Stone Age? Absolutely. Are you kidding? That sounds fun too. Absolutely. Show me. Ever since Far Cry Primal surprised me with not being terrible, but fondness for that setting. Oh, yeah, no, I haven't played that one. I should probably check it out. I played the first Far Cry. I might have played the second, but I might have only played the first. And I remember all the discussion around Far Cry being oh, hello. Being one of the few games that's like a shooter that was set in a bright, sunny space and not like a warehouse full of boxes and brown. So what is this here? Ooh, we should talk to them. Pretend I'm from Missouri. Show me. I've had so much fun with the regiment, but it was my lowest watch series ever. Yeah. Oh, so yeah, that's one of the things that I feel like. If you're going to fill up your encumbrance before you to prove you to I am. Look, so the people at Steve Jackson Games are pretty upfront about things, and they noted that their historicals basically just sell less well than everything else. Like, they're known for their historicals, and everybody loves their historicals, and everyone's like, your historicals are so great, but they say that historicals just sell less well than other games. They're like, look, in the RPG market, number 1 is fantasy, number 2 is sci-fi, number 3 is horror. Like, those are the top 3 genres, then you've got a bunch of everything else, and like at the very bottom is historicals. And I've always been a little bit sad about it because I think historicals are so great, but I know a lot of people have things to say about historicals. They say things like, they say a lot of things about historicals, and some of it has to do with different modes of escapism, I suppose. You know what I mean? But anyway, so that makes me sad because there's so many really cool and great so many great settings that one could do. Like, yes. By the way, I'm gonna say I'm not one of your goons.
The goons haven't played tossball for a decade. We're the freebooters. I'll admit this attack hasn't gone strictly according to plan.
Yeah.
But as we like to say in the league, no strategy survives contact with the opponent. Let's call this round a draw. You head back to your end of the field, I'll regroup my team, and we'll see where things take us in the
No, that
second
doesn't make
half.
any
What do you
sense.
say?
I'm gonna say, hold on. You think we're playing tossball? Oh.
Of course we're playing tossball. We're the freebooters. Tossball is what we do.
Oh.
Tossball and piracy. Here's the problem. I can't let you live, but as long as you're on my ship, you've got the advantage over us. So, we're at an impasse.
I'm gonna use my massive persuade. PH says, I'm generally not a history fan, but I love time travel, and I'm now seeing how that is odd. Not necessarily. Yeah, I should have brought the young man who plays tossball. I really should have. Lone Coot. Well, COC, I guess, runs under the label horror, but it can always be historical too if the party wants to. Yeah, right. But I think it's about. I think the thing is, I think the reason why people don't like historicals, or I think there are a couple of reasons. One, I think that people are afraid of history. They're like, oh, a historical, but I don't know anything about history, so I don't know if I can do it, right? I think there's that as like a one concern. But I think the bigger concern when I've talked to people is that they say things like, well, why would I play historical? Because I want to have magic, or I want to be an elf. Like, I don't want to be a human, and I want to have magic. So I think that there's a desire for a certain level of supernatural, which a horror game does fill, right? If you're playing Call of Cthulhu, you can have magic. It's probably a bad idea, side note, but you can, right? So I think that there are people who just basically don't want to play normal humans. They don't think that being a normal human is interesting. They want magic. They want psionics, right? That kind of thing. Has Padre Max left the toilet? He has. Peaches, I can definitely feel the fear of not knowing enough, and I feel like time travel bypasses not knowing enough because you're not going to stay anywhere long enough. You're like, oh, I'm just popping in real quick. But also, time travel has magic. You know what I mean? Time travel itself is like a science fiction sort of thing. Historic Cthulhu game incoming. Oh, I've got a historical vampire game that I'm thinking about.
Negotiate terms. How do I know this isn't a trap?
Oh, it is a trap, but negotiation's the wrong word. I call it a meeting between coaches.
A meeting between coaches. Unconventional, but brazen. I like it. All right, I'm willing to pause.
Hey, we're gonna be able to chat.
Come speak with me in the captain's quarters. I mean the coach's office. Come up through the cargo hole. I'll have my players take a timeout. For now.
Oh, cool. Okay.
You'll find me in...
Right. Okay. I'm gonna put my gun away. I also do not remember what those missions were because I was not paying attention to them. Let's see. Ask aid for help. Speak to Coach Sillery. So let's do all of that. And disable the tracking device. Okay. Okay, that's great. So we're gonna go and chat. So yeah, I think a lot of people have, but I also think that if we taught history in a better way, that people would be more likely to find historical RPGs interesting. This is my thought.
Stay out of my orbit, pal.
Okay. For example, we don't tend to teach history grounded in people, like regular, like, how do I put this? Ooh. Hey, I can pick this lock. I've apparently gotten hungry again, and I'm going to do all of this. Like, we're going to do all of this, but we're going to chat with them first. But we're going to have to eat food again, apparently. This is a thing. Apparently we have to eat food, whatever that is. Yeah, so I think, and let's go have this purple berry lunch. Great. There we go. Krellin says, all history is great person history, and we have no sense of what life was like for the actual people. Yes, right? Yes, Krellin, exactly. And I think it's really hard.
I'm ready to talk when you are.
to imagine playing in a historical game when all you've ever known about are like
All
random
right,
generals,
easy now.
and you have no idea what
Let's
it's
just keep
like
our weapons holstered
to just
like civilized
live, right?
I'm a man of my word. Let's talk. I'll even drop the toss ball act for you.
Okay, thanks. Even back in the 60s, 70s, back when I was in school, it was as much heroic as it was event history. Yeah, and I remember always being frustrated. I was like, well, but how did people get food? What did it look like? What did, And I think not ever being grounded in, like, for me, one of the reasons why that whole, that French Revolution excitement was so great was that I was grounded in a person. I was like, okay, well, who's this person? What was her life like, right? And that was actually pretty great. But so often I got to learn about salons and things like that, and we often just don't get to experience that sort of a thing. I'm in the game. Like, I didn't enjoy history until later in my education, says Crit Twitch, because they got away from focusing on dates and whys and whats, yeah. But my problem is, despite my later interest, I don't remember a bit. Crown brings up a great point. Yeah, Gervais says, history is often taught as if only the big names and dates, which is just bland and daunting, absolutely, and not very compelling. Valtiel says, the whys and whats are certainly more interesting than memorizing bullet points, lists of dates, yeah. Crown says, as the late Shamus Young used to like to ask, what did they eat? Yeah, exactly. And I will say, this is one of the reasons why I really loved that TV show Rome, which was one of the first peak TV shows, but we forgot about it. Like Oz, right? Oz and Rome. Everyone talks about The Sopranos. But what was really great about Rome was that they filmed it in Italy, right? At Cinecittà Studios. They have this really great sort of setup. But you got to see what it was like to be a regular soldier, right? Like, at least they're depicting, like, this is what the housing looked like for regular people who were not the aristocracy, right? This is what... and so there was a lot of just everyday life things that were shown, and it really made it feel alive, and I thought it was really great. Oh, Seamus is pronounced exactly like Seamus, just spelled Americanly. Yes, right? Yes? I want you to default on your contract. But who sent you and what do you want? Let's do that.
My team and I were contracted to apprehend the unreliable, eliminate its crew, and dispose of the captain. I couldn't tell you who hired me even if I wanted to. The contract's anonymous. No names, no faces, just money and a target. I can't turn down a job like that. You understand.
Oh, I'm going to do this really fun lie. I asked because I'm a recruiter. The Groundbreaker's putting a tossball team together.
You're a recruiter?
Yeah.
Good law, why didn't you lead with that?
Well,
If you're willing to recommend me to Groundbreaker, I'm willing to forget I ever had a contract on you. What do you say?
Groundbreaker could use a good coach, but I guess they can settle for you.
Yeah, that sounds a lot like what my first wife said.
Ooh. Dang.
I appreciate you putting in a good word for me. You don't know how long I've been wanting to play professional
Wait.
tossball again.
Am I gonna...
I'll keep my ship clear of yours. You and I will never cross orbits again.
Wait, does that mean I'm not gonna... Okay, that's what I like to hear.
I got no reason to come after you. Use my credentials to get inside the cockpit
Sure.
and take our tracking device.
Okay.
Our astrogation terminal was tracking your ship. Don't ask me how. Never had much luck with computing.
But do I get to have him be part of my
myself.
crew now? Seem to imply that. Or am I not going to get him as part of my crew? What are you going to tell your employees?
The truth. We never caught up to the unreliable. You vanished somewhere into the void. Astrogator never picked up your location again.
I hope... I mean, I'm afraid we're not going to get to have the coach as our crew member, because I felt like we might have had that as a possibility, because that would have been awesome. Because since we're... Should I not rob all this stuff? Oh, Valtia, you should totally check out Rome. It's very good. Also, only like political history. Others, yes, Javi. Hawkeye says, my love of history was generated by reading the old Encyclopedia Britannica volumes we had at home. Yep. Yes, I was that kid that read the encyclopedia for fun. Oh yeah, me too. Where I also learned a lot about different mythologies. Me too. You're sending him to the ground paper. Why would he join your crew? Yeah, because it said it had a little symbol that said like person plus, and I thought that maybe we'd like, get that person and like join us. 2 LCA contract. Your target is the Unreliable, a small inconsequential ship with no significant defenses. Freelance, owned and operated. Captained by a 2-bit smuggler who goes by Alex Hawthorne. Intercept the reliable, eliminate Hawthorne and any crew in your way. I've sent you in advance, along with a tracking device for your astrogator. To the freebooters, team coach, and or his/her replacement. The Firefly Company is currently experiencing an exciting period of growth and change. We are happy to announce that 3 different companies, including but not limited to Spacer's Choice, are currently in the process of negotiating for ownership of Firefly Company's properties. As part of these negotiations, Firefly Company has agreed to dissolve its Freebooters Tossball property, so as not to challenge, compete with, undermine, or in any way disrespect the Tossball teams owned and deployed by any company interested in acquiring us. We are pleased to inform you that the Firefly Company has formally renounced its ownership of the Freebooters Tossball brand and all related properties. Furthermore, please be informed that all Tossball-related positions, including but not limited to players, coaches, maintenance, automechanical units, and laborers, are now formally dissolved. Please be reminded that your lifetime indenturement contracts have not been dissolved. Your labor and services remain the sole property of the Firefly Company into perpetuity. This is a terrible world. Please be reminded that offering your services to a competitor is strictly contrary to colony law, may be punishable with arrest, imprisonment, mandatory re-education, and or a surprise audit. Furthermore, any independent contract work, also known as freelancing, is strictly contrary to the terms of your lifetime indenturement contract. Your positions have been discontinued as of the receipt of this message. What a terrible world. What a terrible world. Yeah. On following instructions. Team. There's a time for improvisation and a time for following instructions. Understanding the difference is more of an art than a science. If you find yourself thinking up a creative solution to a problem, ask yourself, what are some of the consequences of my solution? Am I behaving in a way consistent with the values of the freebooters? Let me give you a practical example. Say I ask one of you to repair the piping in my lavatory. I understand we've got a bit of a part shortage here in Halcyon, so you might try to improvise, using a plasma rifle instead of a welding torch, for example, or tossball sticks instead of chisels. These are all terrible ideas. Why, you ask? If you think about it, the answer will be as obvious as the hole in my lavatory wall. Don't be sorry, be better. Coach. On practice. Team. Practice is important. The best tossball players devote every waking moment to the study of their craft. Scripture tells us our lives are defined by our role in society. Our role is to play tossball. We are never off the field because we never stop being tossball players. Some of you took this advice to heart. You're practicing your pitch and your swing in the commons. I don't have to remind you all of the incident involving a tossball in my entire case of Spectrum Red. Now, I understand you're all eager to play. We haven't had a lot of matches since corporate scuppered the team, but today I had to pry a tossball out of a shattered terminal. That terminal could have been our astrogator, and then I would have had to space the party responsible in accordance with team regulation. So please don't force me into a position where I have to discipline you. I expect you all to behave in a manner consistent with freebooter values, which includes only destroying equipment while on board an enemy ship. The coach. Let's return to root, and let's... Deleted messages. From the Firefly Company Office of Clerical Oversight to the designated captain of this vessel, dear sir and or madam, this is an automated message. Please be informed that the following services, amenities, and products provided by the Firefly Company have been discontinued and or decommissioned. 1. The Firefly Freebooters Tossball Team and all properties related herein, and all Firefly Company storage and transport ships in development or currently spaceworthy, and all maintenance and repair services provided to the Firefly Company vehicles, and all rations, medical rights, company uniforms, and designated domiciles belonging to Firefly Company. Please be informed that captaining a discontinued ship is strictly contrary to regulation and may be punishable with any or all of the following punitive fees, mandatory re-education, imprisonment. Firefly Company will not provide relocation or employment assistance for any discontinued workers. This is a terrible world to live in. I also do not think I should steal anything from this person, considering that we are now, I don't know, this person might end up, oh, hey, look at this. Joining the team, maybe? I mean, I don't know. Well, now this I feel like we can steal, though, because it's just hidden away. Sure, we'll take it. It must be hard to be a historical TV series fan when the most accurate things are the life of Brian or Blackadder 99% of the time. That's fine. Yeah, if they join the team, it only counts as borrowing. You know, also, while I am a history fan, I'm not, like, I understand that stories sometimes have to be shifted for narrative purposes. Like I'm not a jerk about it, let's say. That said, there are some changes that are like not necessary and or misleading. Like I feel like cutting things down is. Here's a good example. There was a movie about the Comedian Harmonists, which is the group I wrote my dissertation on, and they are a really interesting band. They were like a German jazz vocal group. Half of whom were Jewish and half of whom were not, in Germany in the 1930s. And they were one of the most popular groups around. They were very, very, very popular. And, you know, I wrote on them and all of that. And in the movie, they condensed time a little bit. What is this? Ooh, let's just steal this crew card, why don't we? That sounds awesome. So they condensed time, which I wasn't like, that wasn't like the worst thing ever. The condensing of time ended up meaning that some things that took longer in real life took less time in the movie, which sometimes made you miss. Like, you didn't realize how long they were staying in Nazi Germany. They were in Nazi Germany after Hitler. Like, they continued to perform for 2 years after Hitler came to power. And it would have been, like, and that was sort of missed a little bit. We're going to steal that. And we're going to steal that, too, because that seems fun. And it was, like, a bit of a bummer that was, but, like, it wasn't the end of the world. We're also going to take this food because apparently I need to eat food. So I wasn't, like, super mad or anything like that by that, because after all, they didn't. It just sort of. I feel like they could have done like they could have indicated how much time had passed because it made the story a little bit more exciting. But you know, I wasn't bothered by that because I understand you only have so much time to tell a story. It's just when you sort of say things that are just not true in ways that are give people a really wrong impression about what was going on, and not in a not in a useful way is all I'm trying to say. So yeah, let's open this. Hey DSB, you can steal if it's hidden. Well, it's true, you can steal if it's hidden. Let me see, where were you? Tarmac it. Dramatizing is one thing. Yes, pretty much lying is something else. Yeah. One of my favorite things in a historical movie was when Inglourious Basterds killed off Hitler. You think they're going to just follow alongside history, and then they really surprised me. Yeah, I will just note, though, that killing Hitler might have made things worse depending on when you did it. If you did it early enough, if you did it before Germany invaded the Soviet Union, it might have been fine. But once Germany invades the Soviet Union, I think killing Hitler might make things worse. So, you know, trickiness. Tracking device. Let's remove that tracking device. Okay, let's return to the root and let's look at our logs. Last entry. We get a bunch of Firefly energy cells. Oh. I feel bad for these folks. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm glad I didn't murder them all. We came to a discussion that was nonviolent because their life is not, like, their life's not great. So, we did all of that. Right, so let's go back to our ship. Because I feel like we're good here. Right? Hawkeye, the creating a martyr theory? No, not creating a martyr, actually. Carlin says, killing Hitler at a time before Himmler was out of favor probably would have been bad. Yes, right? It's not the martyr. It's about, basically, if you killed Hitler when Himmler was still in favor, when you had a bunch of really competent people who were also really fanatical, in favor, they would have taken over. Like, I just don't think you wanted Himmler in charge of the Reich. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that would have been bad. And if you'd done it early enough, then I think you would have had... Why do I need food again? If you'd done it early enough, then let's save, shall we? Let's save. If you'd done it early enough, basically, if you'd done it early enough, before they'd been able to really solidify. Yeah. Oh, no. Because I was thinking about this, right? I was thinking about Admiral Canaris, who's the head of German military intelligence. Yeah, Hitler's a bad dude who did bad things, but the just kill Hitler theory is just like saying killing Trump in or after 2019 to fix things. Yeah. And the thing about, it just means you're not done assassinating. And then you just have to go on a big, huge assassination spree. And that could also be a problem. So, like, I remember when, so Canaris wanted to have a coup and overthrow Hitler and his regime when Germany invaded Czechoslovakia. Well, actually, right before. He was in contact with MI6. Canaris is in our game, right, Colas? Mass murder is just neurodivergence, though. Oh, that's right. And I remember he was like, hey, MI6, this whole regime is the whole regime is a problem. They're going to invade Czechoslovakia. If you declare war on Germany, if you and France, if you all declare war on Germany when we invade Czechoslovakia, I can use that basically to make a case to the rest of the generals and other people who are on the fence that Hitler is going to bring ruin to Germany, and we have, for the good of Germany, we have to do a coup and overthrow the government and set up a new government. And this is the time to do it because we're basically early enough. And because Hitler's like, hey, we can go and start all this war and there will be no negative consequences or repercussions for what we're doing. And people are like, I don't know. And he's like, look, so if we invade Czechoslovakia and there are negative consequences, all those people who are on the fence, I can convince them. So will you all declare war when we invade Czechoslovakia? By the way, we're going to invade Czechoslovakia. Will you declare war? And England and France are like, absolutely. We will totally declare war. If he invades Czechoslovakia, we will totally declare war, and then you can have a coup and we'll all be good. And so Canaris, which is, by the way, part of the stuff that's going on in Kolos in season 1 and 2, because it's past that point, but there's like a little bit of a backstory, and that is, so Canaris is like, okay, so Canaris goes and sets up, like, recruits all these people, he contacts all these folks, he puts together a fifth column, he's like, he and a bunch of military people are all ready to do this coup. When Germany invades Czechoslovakia. And then Germany invades Czechoslovakia, and everyone's like, and they don't declare war. So all this work that Canaris had done to put together a group of people to overthrow, like high-ranking people who are really well-connected, to overthrow the government in a coup, it all dissipates because the Allies don't declare war on Germany right then. And then, all of a sudden, when Hitler said we can go and do these things, there won't be a problem, it looks like he was right. And so this was a huge blow for Canaris and all of them. And then that was like, and then Hitler just keeps invading places, and like the Allies just do the appeasement process, which undermines Canaris' ability to do this, because then everybody's like, well, I suppose it's fine, it's working out well. And then as this happens, you can actually also see it happening in Kolos a little bit, that when Germany invaded France, originally, the SS was not supposed to be there. The SS were not allowed to be there technically because it was a military operation. The SS are not military, and they weren't supposed to be there. So von Stupnagel, the one that we have right now, he's replaced. In our timeline, he's still actually there. It is currently now 2 months after he left in the actual timeline, but he was replaced by his cousin, who was later arrested by Hitler for being part of the coup at the end. But Stupnagel, the one that we currently have, was like, there's going to be no SS in, like, this is not going to happen, right? They did not want that sort of entire infrastructure to be built, but Dr. Knochen, Colonel Knochen, snuck in to France, secretly set up an office, and then just started building. And then he's like, oh, look, I'm here. And Strupnagel's like, I do not want them here. And Heydrich and them are like, yeah, but they're here now. So right? So basically, as we're moving through time, the Nazi infrastructure gets more and more embedded. And once they invade the Soviet Union, then it becomes almost impossible to have that coup, because everyone's like, we're in a war with the Soviet Union right now. We can't just stop. Like, if we stop, they're going to invade us, right? So all of a sudden, at that point in time, because of Allied appeasement, a time to actually sort of stop all of this basically passes. So killing Hitler at this point in time, as we're at like in the Kolos moment, is not going to be a good idea. Basically, yeah. Krillin, you need to be careful about who you assassinate. The person at top is really not one of the key people. Yeah, they're a key figurehead, but there are a lot of other key people, right? Yeah. DSB responds to PH's question mark. Something this is response to me, there's a lot of narrative on the internet right now that psychopathy and sociopathy aren't illnesses, they're just neurodivergence. Yeah. Baltia says, was this a background character in Kolos at one point, or was the potential coup person a different character? So Krillin says, he's the head of German military intelligence, like the head. He is the head. PH says, mass murder is an act, not a state of being. Yes, it is. So the thing is about, so here's the thing. And what I'm telling you is true, although it's only been revealed more recently, historically. People thought, so Admiral Canaris, who is in the game right now, you've not met him in person, although he's been talked about, was a huge war hero and considered like this great, brilliant, like World War I admiral, a great war hero, very smart, and he was the head of military intelligence. And he was considered like, you know, this great strategist, great hero. And he was in charge of negotiating with Franco's Spain to get Franco to come into the war on Germany's side. Hotzendorf versus Cadorna duel on World War I was so absurd that there's a TV series. Yes. Austro-Hungary managed to catch Italy off guard when their plan was leaked in newspapers. Allies told Italy and spies, and prisoners from Austro-Hungary handed the top secret. Yeah, like super interesting, right? Crown says, also, Canaris was real. All this was real stuff, and it was a long time before people actually managed to triumph for treason. Yeah, it was at the very, very end, because Canaris was really good at, like, Canaris was really careful. They were all very, very paranoid. And what was interesting is that, so, Canaris was sent to Spain, because he actually was, like, really connected, to bring Spain, Franco's Spain, into the war on Germany's side, and he failed. Like, Spain remained basically friendly but neutral, and he was considered a failure for that, and like, oh wow, he failed. And they did all this like military intelligence stuff that also failed. There's a very famous case where he sent in some spies. They airdropped them into England, also to the United States, to go and spy on the United Kingdom and do like basically like the version of their version of the SOE. And those people got caught immediately. Like they got caught within hours of landing, because they had German accents and they were not good spies. Like they kind of were obvious and they were caught almost immediately. And for the longest time, for decades and decades, people were like, wow, German military intelligence was just incompetent. They were just real bad. Like who knows why they were so bad? And it has come out more recently that they were bad because he was in contact with MI6 the entire time, right? Like he actually was failing on purpose, right? Like he went to Spain and he did not want Spain to come in. He was told to go and do that, but he's like, oh man, I just can't get it done, because he didn't want it to happen. And he sent out he sent out those agents who were incompetent on purpose. And he also told MI6 they were coming, right? He did these things on purpose because he was trying to undermine the Reich. So he was failing, but he was failing on purpose. And when the game starts, I've done a lot of weird research on exactly, I know the names of the people who were in German military intelligence during this moment in occupied France, which is hard to find, but I found interrogation records, because some of the interrogation records of the SOE are online in various archives. And so I was able to find some of these interrogation records where they interrogated various military intelligence people after the war or during the war. So I was able to get a lot of interesting names. And what's interesting is that what you have is like after the debacle where the Allies basically just do appeasement and don't declare war on Germany after the invasion of Czechoslovakia. That does this huge blow to Canaris and his group. And so a lot of them sort of dissipate, and he has to start rebuilding. And so part of this rebuilding process is figuring out who you can approach to be part of a new idea for a new coup. DSB says, it's interesting, though, because I think a lot of people would be quick to be like, oh, he was a good person doing the right thing. But if Hitler had been more successful, he'd be painted as a traitor and a villain's fest. Oh, but he was painted as a villain, as a traitor, because Hitler caught him. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing, right? And I would say people who are still neo-Nazis, people who are Nazis would still think of him as a traitor and a villain. Just like they think of, what's his face? The other guy. Like, basically all those people that were part of the coup at the end, the attempt to assassinate Hitler, and if you were a Nazi, people do think of them as traitors and villains. Side note about this, remind me to say something about Marlene Dietrich. So at the moment that Kolos starts, which is pretty early in the war still, pretty early in the occupation, Canaris's group is trying to figure out who they can recruit to be part of who their allies are. And some of the people who end up being assassinated for being part of this coup attempt are German military intelligence right now in the era of Kolos. So Colette, who was ended up being their handler, was one of these people. She ended up marrying the French head of military intelligence, who ended up later being one of these people who are part of this coup. So basically, what I set up in the very beginning is that there are these people who are part of military intelligence who are also part of this group, Canaris's group, to try to overthrow Hitler. But the heroes assassinated the head of German military intelligence right off the bat in season 1. They end up assassinating, and Colette, her job is to be the courier to try to bring information between the various people who are trying to assassinate Hitler. They kill her too. Regina actually kills both of them. And Colette is like not telling them everything because she doesn't actually know where they stand or how keyed in they are. So she's like, look, I'm your handler. I need to like get info from you. I got to figure out where you're at. But they decide that she's too dangerous, so they kill her, which now they did like that wasn't great for the coup, basically, because they took out 2 people who are German military intelligence who were part of the plot to kill Hitler. And they have basically undermined that. They did a pretty good job of undermining that situation. So, yeah. Yes, thank you, Thomas von Stauffenberg. Like, a lot of neo-Nazis think that von Stauffenberg is a traitor and a villain. So, like, if you are pro-Nazi, people would call those folks villains. So when is Regina being revealed as a German double agent? That's a good question. Yes. Valtiel says, tangentially related, I saw a post on Reddit about a U.S. published spy manual from World War II teaching about simple sabotage, like running business offices inefficiently and whatnot. Yep. I remembered it when you mentioned that Canaris was so purposely incompetent. Yeah, sort of being purposely incompetent was one of these, like, slowing things down. There was a really cool thing, an act of resistance that one of the, I think it was Peugeot, the head of Peugeot. And what's really tricky about these sort of subtle acts of resistance, a lot of people that did subtle acts of resistance after the war got arrested for being collaborators and assassinated, and executed, right? Because their subtle acts of resistance were too subtle, or that people didn't know they were doing these subtle things, and then they got, there are a lot of people who did things, but people didn't know they were doing things, and they got executed. It's a deal. But while the coup people were plotting, they were being active Nazis, so they also did a lot of good by getting rid of them. I suppose the question is, what does that mean, right? So I think about, for example, there are a lot of questions about that. There are a lot of questions. So, for example, there was a guy who was he was the chief of police in Belgium, in occupied Belgium. I think he was the Nazi, one of the Nazi chiefs of police or whatever. And his job was to round up Jews and for execution, right? And what he did was he he had friends who were Jews and part of the Belgian, was it Belgium or was it the Netherlands? One of those two. I don't think it was Belgium. Actually, I think it was the Netherlands. He would actually warn people in the Jewish community that they were going to go and do a raid, so that then the Jews could then basically hide and not be present when they did the raid. And he still had to arrest people, or else they would know what he was doing. Right? If he didn't catch some people, they would know that what he was doing, and then they would arrest him and kill him, and they would replace him with somebody who was good at their job, or who wanted to do that job. And so he would end up catching people when he did, but he would always warn people to let them know that they were coming so that they wouldn't get caught. And I think he also like gave them like paperwork and things like that so they could escape. And he saved like tens of thousands of people, but people did get caught and get sent away. And after the war, he was arrested for being a Nazi, for crimes against humanity and all of that. And he was going to be executed. But a bunch of people that he saved who had escaped came back. They're like, no. He actually like helped a bunch of us. So one could say, well, but he went and still arrested people. So he was still an active Nazi. So he's just as bad. But I suppose the question is, so you could say like, yeah, you got like, you captured 500 Jews and they got killed. So you're a war criminal and you should be executed. And it would be better to get rid of him, right? Like it's like it would be like we should get rid of him. But if you got rid of him, you would have had somebody like the people in charge of France who killed almost every single Roma in that country because they were into it, right? And I think about the question is small resistance? You're looking at killing 500 people instead of a hypothesized would kill. Well, I'm actually looking at how many people he saved, right? Like, it wasn't like he killed 500 people and that was it. He actually saved like tens of thousands of people by actively getting them out of the country. So the question becomes like, is he, and I suppose you could say that a person who saves 100,000 people and in the process has to kill 500 people is just as bad as somebody who saves no one and kills 1 million people. But I mean, that's philosophical. He didn't not catch his people by being bad, PhD directly. Yeah. So I think that's the question. Do we think that those things are like, do we think there's no difference between them? And that's like, I think that's a philosophical question you have to ask yourself. Now the harm stands alone. So if we're going to say that the harm stands alone, then I would say I should be assassinated, executed as a war criminal, as should every single American, right? Every single person in the United States should be assassinated as a war criminal, because we all were we were citizens of this country during George W. Bush's war crimes. And since we did not actively stop him, we were supporting him, and therefore we're all war criminals and we should be executed. So the question is, how do we decide how culpability works, right? And this is the real life trolley problem. And we also have to think about when you're part of a system, right? This is the thing, right? So we're all part of systems that have done things in our names. And if being part of the system makes you culpable, then every single U.S. citizen, actually, I mean, I think pretty much, I can't think of any country whose citizens shouldn't be executed for war crimes, right? If we are going to go that way. And it depends on how we want to look at it, right? I mean, I think that's a difficult thing. I generally think that the only reason enough Jewish people are alive and openly Jewish to have the state of Israel is that a bunch of people were subtly sabotaging. Yeah. The point of the trolley problem is that there isn't objectively correct. Yeah, there isn't an objectively correct answer, and I think that you have to just decide where we go. But I like to follow through the thought process, right? If being part of the system makes you culpable in that system because you didn't opt out of the system, then every single one of us is culpable. And including French resistance members, right? Like every single French resistance member who was actively fighting, but who still walked down the street having passes is still contributing to that system. And so therefore, right? I mean, so that's that's one to think about, right? Can you be outside of the system? And if anybody inside the system, no matter what you do, is still supporting the system, then I mean, that means really, yeah, right? The United States currently has colonies. The United States had coups and assassinated governments and overthrew them. The British Empire still has colonies, right? So that means that all of us are implicated in that sort of a thing. Also depends on why you think people should be in prison punished, to punish, reform, to protect others. This is also a question, right? This is also a question about what you think punishment is for. I also note that he couldn't have saved those people if he refused to his job at all. Yeah, they were saved because he was inside and had information because of it. Yeah, so that's tricky. Nation of Sealand is pretty much the only place that is safe from war crimes done during the Dutch presidency. Yeah, right. So, right, that's one of those things. And I think this is, and I was also thinking about von Stroopnagel, the one that we currently have in Colas, who was arrested, right, for war crimes, for being the head of occupied France, and committed suicide in prison before he could go to trial. Technically, Hawaii is still an occupied nation in the U.S. Oh, it is, and here's the thing: they took it to. I watched a really good YouTube video essay on this about Hawaii. It was really, really good because I wonder if I can find it again. Oh, it was so good, y'all. It was super distressing. Maybe I can find it because Hawaii. Oh, hold on. Hawaii legal. Where was it? It was something I'd seen already. It was a YouTube video essay, and it was about the way. So I don't know if you know this, but the people of Hawaii took the United States to court, to the international court, and said, "Hey, these people basically overthrew our legal government illegally and are occupying us illegally, and they've done these illegal things to get here." And the international court said, that's actually true. The United States has to leave Hawaii. Like, the United States does not have any right to claim the island of Hawaii, and they should leave. And the United States was like, meh. And I think what happened was that I think Clinton just apologized, but they just have not left anywhere. So we are illegally occupying Hawaii right now. Like we are illegally, like, as, I mean, we could always say that all this stuff is legal, but like full on the international court said, yeah, you cannot be here. And we are still occupying it, right? So, and that means that all of us, right, are implicated in that occupation in certain ways, because we're not, right? So we have to just think about it. Anyway, so von Stroopnagel, the first one, he was arrested. He committed suicide in prison awaiting his trial. If we don't have a Y, we'll have to change the whole flag, consider implications, and where we're going to get our really cheap bananas and also a pineapple, and also it's a tourist destination. Come on. Yeah, I see you, DSB. Pretty sure the U.S. doesn't recognize the authority of international courts. Krellin, I think we do when it's convenient for us, but not otherwise, right? You know what I mean? I think if it's like what we want, then we're like, yeah, otherwise no. Hawaii video essay. I wish I could find it, because it was really good. Oh, I wish I could find it. It was really, really good. I wish I remember which of my random video essayists that I read this from. So weird. Okay. Hawaii, partly you said because Dole says so. Yeah, and that's what happened. It was like a corporate coup, right? The court has made us ruling, now let's see them enforce it. What Joe Biden, yeah. And so, right, like this is yeah, anyway, so Stroopnagel, it's really fascinating because Stroopnagel ends up leaving his position, right? Our Stroopnagel ends up leaving his position as the head of occupied France and Belgium in February. We're in April of 42, in February, because he'd been complaining the official way for quite some time about Hitler's policies. He's like, I do not want to, like, this hostage policy where you assassinate civilians for resistance attacks is bad. It's a bad policy. I do not want to do it. And Hitler's like, we don't care. You have to do it. And he's like, I do not want to do this. It's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. You cannot do this. And Hitler kept saying, we want you to kill, like, they had all these fights. Hitler's like, I want you to kill like 2,000 people. And he's like, no. So he ends up like, he shoots like 50 people, 100 people. But he's like, I'm not going to kill 2,000 people. And there are all these things that are happening in between. And in the end, he keeps fighting to sort of do something with this. And he ends up getting forced out because he can't. Also, there's a thing that's going to happen in game that happens in history, like in a couple of weeks, really soon, that he was like, absolutely not, we cannot do this. And they're basically like, you need to leave. And so he's pushed out because he won't do some of the things that are going to happen. Basically, it's going to get really bad historically in occupied France right about now. Really, really bad. Because at this point in time, historically, nobody has left. One group of people have left Drancy so far. Like all the people they've rounded up, none of them been sent off to death camps in the East yet. There was one group, one train that had to go, and it just went. And he's like, I don't want to do any of this stuff. I'm not going to do it. And so they get rid of him. And then it gets real, real bad. So it's see, Valtiel understands this is the consequence of closing tabs. If I'd kept that tab open, I would have known where it was, but I can't find it. I'm really frustrated because it was really, really good. You're like, I'm seeking him, their covers will be blown. We will see what happens. I don't know what will happen. But it's going to get intense. That's like saying Rome was illegally occupying Europe according to the Imperial Chinese court. Yeah. Yeah. So, if you left that tab on, you still couldn't find it in the sea of tabs. I'm doing better. I've been closing tabs and I'm trying to organize my tabs more coherently, where like video essays are all on tabs in one window, and academic things are all on tabs. Like I'm trying to make it. Look, I don't know the answer to these questions because they're hard questions, right? But I will note that not everybody gets treated the same, right? That some people are collaborators and it's fine, and some people are and it's not. And I was thinking about, remember DSB, I did want to tell you this. DSB, you said this thing that, we have to get back in here. You said this thing that I think is important and interesting. Why is everybody hanging out, by the way?
I thought we were safe in the Aether. Oh, law, I'm gonna have nightmares about this for weeks.
Okay, we're good then. We're fine. We're fine. No, okay, we're good. We don't have a problem. Okay.
Welcome back.
Yes. Let's get going.
Understood, Captain. Resuming our course.
I know I have too many tabs when I can no longer see the icons in the tab display. Yeah. Look, I don't have a good answer to the problem of what you do when you're under a fascist regime in terms of, like, do you become a martyr and be like, yeah, like I don't know what you do, because for Canaris to do what he did, he actually had to work within the system in order to sort of try to continue, in order to try to get the information, right? There are a bunch of people who basically did a lot of undermining, but they had to be in those positions in order to do that. And I don't know what you do about all that, you know? Time of Gift says, a Colossus historical call out coming up. Yep. The Goons of August, note standard text on origin of World War I in 1960s was the Guns of August. Oh. Oh. You do the best you can according to your own personal ethics. Yeah, but of course you have to know that people will judge you, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, people will judge you based on their version of ethics, and you're gonna have to live with that. You know what I mean? Like, you'll just have to live with that. I guess we're all gonna figure out what we do soon enough. Yeah. Yeah. Hey everybody, I feel like there might be a problem here. Look, I'm not I personally am not super judgy about the moment because I don't know what I would do when I was there, and not knowing what I would do there means that I'm gonna like, you know, there's a lot to think about, right? Like I think about Franziska Mann, who was a ballet dancer, Jewish. She was captured and sent to Auschwitz. And when she arrived at Auschwitz, one of the first things they'd have all the prisoners do is have them stripped so they can do all the stuff to them, right? And they said, I think I was quoting you. During occupation, the best you can do is be like Renee from Allo Allo and hope British folks won't dress up as French police and visit your pub. Renee. So they told her to strip, and what she did was she started stripping, but like in a sexy way. She's like, sexy stripping. And as she's sexy stripping, the Nazis are distracted by her sexy stripping, and in the process of them being distracted, she grabs the gun that was on one of the Nazi officers, shoots him dead, and then I think she takes out two more people, and then all the prisoners with her. They have this uprising, and I think they kill like maybe 3 or 4 or 5 Nazis, and then they're all murdered. They're all gunned down with machine guns. Now, Renee was resistant, but he also did a good bit of collaborating, yeah. And the thing about that was, that's heroic on one hand, right? Like, she's like, you know, if you're going to kill me, I'm going to go out fighting. And she did. But I will note that people did survive Auschwitz as well. People did actually make it out of there. Like, I do not have an answer for that. Like, I just don't have an answer for that. I don't know. Yeah, machine guns really change the calculus of popularizing. It really, really does. And so I don't have an answer to if it's better to take out 2 people or not. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think about, like, look, I don't have an answer, right? But I think about the hostage policy. When a resistance member went and shot somebody, civilians got killed who were not part of this. Those SOE agents. So at this point in time in Kolos, Heydrich has not been assassinated yet. Historically, he gets assassinated in the Czech Republic, out east, by SOE agents. Like, SOE agents are airdropped into, because the SOE finds out about all of this, about like the SOE finds out about the final solution. Tomica says, hey, Trooper, what will the game date of the next Kolos session be for no reason, for those of us in chat? That has not been determined, because I always ask the players how much they want to time skip. However, one moment. I want to start. We're in April, if I remember correctly. We're about there, right? April, May, April. I've got to look at our exact end date, which I have written down. But I would like to start before July 1. I do not want to skip forward more than that. Yes. I would say it's important for me that we do not fast forward so far. Actually, no. Yeah, that we don't fast forward so far that we pass July 1st. I would like to start like July 1st, July 7th. Probably July 1 is probably where I'd like to start. Right around there. I have to make sure that there aren't a couple other things that I really, really want to make sure we get before. So like we might have to start like at the very end of June, depending. But there are some things happening in July that I want to make sure that we get to. Oberst, the new Oberg becomes. When does he become the head of our general? Yeah, Karl Oberg is installed as the general in charge of the SS in Paris in May. May 5. When in the game we're at right now, he's not actually arrived yet. So I'm okay with fast forwarding up to July 1. But there are things that happen in July that I want to be present for, is what I would say. Yeah. Yep. I'm pretty sure every resistance member was complicit in some way, or else they would be dead. Yeah. PH says, other people's actions aren't my ethical burden to bear. I have some thoughts about that. Without machine guns, the British occupation of India would have been a lot shorter. Yes, it would have. Or would have required a lot far more active British... Yeah. Maybe KP could run a miniseries of Indian resistance. Oh, there's a lot of really interesting stuff there. DSB says, Eddie Izzard has a great bit about guns and the British coming to India with the clever use of flags, and also guns. Also, yes, both of them. Kron says, guns were a force multiplier, yes, but machine guns increase it multiplier by at least a whole order of... Yeah, that's the thing about being able to... Ooh. Hey, we just leveled up, everybody. We just leveled up. We're going to level up our character, because that also still allows us to talk. We are going up in skills, right? We were talking about lockpicking, yeah? Because that has been a problem for us. Not being able to lockpick the way we want, and being really frustrated by that. So we're going to just actually lockpick. We're going to go all the way up to 100 in our lockpicking, because we're going to just max that out. And then we are going to get into hacking. This is what we're doing. We're just upping that. We're just upping our lockpicking. Then we're going to go hacking, and then we're going to go something else. Right? That's it. That's it. We're just doing... That's... Although if we do handguns, we get that up to an 80, which gives us another breakpoint, which I actually think we should do. We're going to do that. And then we're going to do lockpicking. But lockpicking is also a great breakpoint. As is hack. Lockpicking. Lockpicking. That's it. Lockpicking. Lockpicking. Like, a gun lets a soldier kill a lot more reliable than a spear, but a machine gun lets a soldier kill hundreds of people. Absolutely. And it's also, and the thing about a machine gun, it's also a, categorically, like, an automatic rifle is still a personal weapon, whereas a machine gun is a squad level weapon. Like, it's meant to suppress huge numbers of people. That's its whole job. I'm reminded of The Last Samurai, where they charge a lot of those machine gun things. Yeah. Machine guns let a pair of combatants. Yeah, the whole point of machine gun is location denial, right? Like it's that's what it does. It does massive. It's machine gun automatic weapon fire is a big deal. Science, increased damage when I'm at low health, armor rating, and bonuses. Plasma damage reduction. I don't do a lot of melee damage. So that's not. The small amount of damage that you deal... No, that's not interesting. Tactical demolition... I have companions. Supplement attack made on the same target while in TDD deals increased damage. Oh, let's do that. That seems good. Let's select that one and apply it. Yes. I'll just have to remember to do my time dilation more. That's going to be a deal. Yeah, I mean, suppression is like a... It's like a... I think that people don't understand the purpose of a machine gun. It's to make it so that people can't move. It's to pin you down. And that kind of suppression is area denial in a way that is actually really significant. in ways that people often don't miss. Like, they miss the... Like, it's not used for hunting. Hello? What's going on here? This seems bad. Right?
Aw, looks like we missed all the fun.
By the way, I've been getting so much spam phone calls. I don't like it.
You got nimble fingers, Captain.
Thanks. So, I do want to talk about internal versus external locus of control, but this is a very good conversation. I'm very excited by it. I was thinking about, because I've been doing all this research on this moment in history, which, let me tell you, some really bad things are going to happen right now. And one of the reasons why this time period that we're going to walk right into is not as bad as it was is because a number of people who were chiefs of police, other people started doing these kinds of subtle sorts of sabotage where they're like secretly alerting people so they could leave. So it's interesting, right? Chat, what are you saying? I don't know. Marlena Dietrich, I have to tell you. Drones and advancement of bombs have done similar. Yes, they have. Yes, they have. Carlin says, like, a gun lets a soldier kill people. Yeah. Carlin says, I don't remember what film the scene was from, and it might have been historical footage, to be honest, but the moment I have this profound realization about what machine guns did was a scene of hundreds of Indians rushing like a line of 6 British soldiers and all being mowed down. Like, yeah. There's also a reason, if you know your military logistics, a military unit does not like, every soldier has a rifle, but not every soldier has a machine gun. They're actually you only have like a 1 machine gun per squad, right? So like, I think it's 1 per squad, not 1 per platoon. I think it depends on where you're at, like what your layout is. But like, you don't have that many of them because they're specialized weapons meant to do.
Come on to my house.
Come on to my house, come on. Come on to my house, come on. Come on to my house, I'm gonna give you candy. Come on to my house, I'm gonna give you everything. Hey, welcome in, Raiders. Welcome in, War. I've got to go and give our raid command right now. As a matter of fact, let me do that because I want to welcome you all in with our raid command. Noir, how was your stream? What were you streaming? And how was it going? Give us the deets. Barantor says the UMCC goes with more, but they are usually doing different things. 1 light machine gun per fire team, 3 teams per squad. Yeah, I think we might get. I think the U.S. Army does either 1 per squad or 1 per team, and there are 2 teams per squad. So you're either getting 1 or 2, but I think it's either 1 or 2. So I think we have like one or 2 less than you all, than the Marine Corps, right? Because they have sort of functions.
Somebody's watching me.
I always feel that somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. Whoa, I always feel that somebody's watching me. Tell me, is it just a dream? Ba-da-ba-bow. Thank you for that follow, Baindeer. But also, Noir, what were you all doing? What were you streaming? What was the stream? Tell me about it. I want to know. We're talking right now about, because I run this French resistance campaign. So we're talking about ethical culpability, resistance, fascism. What do you do in these moments, right? Jer says, yeah, machine guns are heavy, and 2, there's some serious diminishing returns on machine guns. They are really heavy. They're really heavy, man. Marlena Dietrich. By the way, we're also playing The Outer Worlds. We are talking about the heaviest stuff. We're talking about machine guns and how they change war. Yeah. So I was thinking this one thing, and it's about if you win the war, then people think you're a hero, but if you lose, they think you're a villain. And I was thinking about when that doesn't happen, right? When there are gaps, and often that has to do with intersectional oppression. So, for example, Marlena Dietrich, she left Germany in 1940, 1932, I believe it was. I can tell you. Let me check. I think it was 1932. One moment. Blue Angel. And the thing is, I should know this off the top of my head. I think it's 32. No, it's 1930. So she left in 1930. I was like, it's either 30 or 32. She leaves in 1930, which is when her film The Blue Angel comes out. Yeah, 1930. And yes, right. And she never returned. And so here's the thing. She left Germany and Hitler's like, come back. And she's like, no. And then they're like, come back and we'll make you a star in Germany. She's like, I am not coming back to Germany. Although that's actually not necessarily true. And then what she did was that she got involved with the resistance, with the OSS, right, which is the American version of the SOE. And she created propaganda music, really interesting stuff. So she made a whole bunch of music. She recorded a bunch of songs in German, aimed at German soldiers that were not obviously propaganda. Like, they weren't like, Hitler sucks. But what they were all these songs that were basically depressing and demoralizing. Songs about, like, missing home and how things are just not the same and how it was so much better in the past. And just, like, really, like, emo, sad, depressing songs to demoralize the soldiers on the front. And it was quite effective, apparently. So she put out all this music in connection. People didn't realize that she was working in connection with the OSS, who are the precursors of the CIA. They had no idea that that's what she was doing, that she was like secretly putting out propaganda to demoralize the enemy, but that's what she was doing. And she went up to the OSS. She's like, hey, OSS, speaking of assassinating Hitler, she said, Hitler really wants to meet me. Hitler and Goebbels, they love me and they want to meet me. Why don't you let me go to Germany, seduce Hitler, which I can do, and then assassinate him? She was like, I will assassinate Hitler. And they're like, oh, no, we don't want you to do that. But she was like all ready to go and assassinate Hitler because Hitler wanted to meet with her. And she's like, I will do it. And what's really interesting is that she ironically, if you wrote those same things about the Irish, they'd probably fight even stronger. maybe also the Russians. And what's interesting is that if you're on the right side, if you're on the winner side, people think you're a hero. And if you're on the loser side, people think you're a villain. People were harsh to Marlene Dietrich for decades after the war. So even though she was on the right side, right, there were people who talked smack about her as a traitor into the 1960s. It was interesting to me that even though that she was like all anti-Hitler and doing all this stuff, they still called her a traitor. And I think she went back to Germany for like a trip or something at some point in time, and people like booed her and spat on her because they saw her as a traitor for leaving Nazi Germany. And I just think it's interesting that some people who stand up against the bad guy, some people get to be seen as heroes, and some people still get to be seen as traitors. And I just note that Marlene Dietrich, who is a woman and queer, was seen as a traitor, even though she was on the victor's side by a lot of people. And like her relationship to Berlin was very complicated. And I think it was a really big deal for Berlin to basically say, okay, we do want her effects back at the end. And so there was like a whole thing with her stuff, like where her stuff would go and where her like effects would be housed, because she was basically rejected by the Germans after the war, but not all Germans, of course, by a number of Germans, for being a traitor. And hey, Horseman. And I think about, I think about that. Like, I think about the ways in which the idea that history is written by the victors, and if you're on the side of the victors, then you're good, and if you're on the side of not the victors, you're bad, doesn't always carry through, you know? And I think about, for example, like when the Allies came and they liberated all the people from the camps, they did not liberate gay men, right? The gay men who'd been put in the concentration camps by the Nazis stayed in prison. They were not liberated. So, yeah, well, it's not like the people who elected Hitler all died in the war. That is correct. That is correct. A lot of people who elected Hitler, and actually who served the regime, were still in office, right? It was called the denazification process, but it was tricky, right? Because you have an entire country, and the Nazis were the entire government, right? That was the government. So if you get rid of every single person who works in the government, like everyone, every single post office person, postal worker, every single police officer, every single person who's a secretary who works at the office of passports, all that stuff, that's a huge, the Beamte, right? That's a huge percentage of the population. And then you're going to replace them with people with no experience. And they knew that was not logistically feasible. So they went through a process where they investigated every single person. They called it the denazification process, where they investigated everyone, and some people were cleared. Every professor, every teacher, all of those people, right? And if they decided that you were not culpable, then you could keep your job. But there's a whole sort of process of trying to do that transition. It was a thing. It was a thing. Lonka says, because part of, I think she's not only seen as a traitor to the Nazi regime, but also the people. Right, and that becomes interesting because some people, like, when do you decide that line, right? PH says, she got an all-expenses paid trip to the U.S. to the same thing they did for the Nazis, but for Uncle Sam. Yeah. Time of Gift says, apparently, in the German version of Lili Marlene, the soldier singing knows he's going to die rather than being wistful that he probably will. And Lili Marlene was actually one of the big propaganda pieces that she did, but people didn't realize it was a propaganda piece. Horseman, yeah, that's pretty fucked up. U.S. got some signs of dots from the U.S. Yeah. So, I mean, like, it's really tricky, right? And to sort of know. And the thing is, all of the kind of, all of those people from the 60s, right? The Red Army faction, the Baader-Meinhof gang, the Red Cells, like, there are a bunch of, there was a significant portion of the U.S. population that supported Nazis. That is also true. Or just didn't care, right? Or just didn't care. They're like, whatever, we don't care. That's none of our business, right? What they do in Europe is not my responsibility. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're talking about very heavy, extremely difficult stuff. Yeah, I think it's, and I think that's where also you get, like, first off, Charles Lindbergh was like, there are a lot of Nazis in the United States, and people who are like, well, what they do over there is none of our business, right? Like, other people's ethics are just none of our affair. We don't care what they're doing over there. And so it was like a big deal. Some famous, like Henry Ford and Charles Lindbergh, absolutely. And there was like American Nazi parties. Yeah. Olympus Orbital Pharmaceutical Station, property of Auntie Cleo. As per my required duties, I'm keeping a visitor's log. Day 1, no visitors. Day 2, no visitors. Day 3, no visitors. Day 61, sometimes we experience long power outages. Sitting in the dark, listening to the storm
Name
beat out the
game.
walls. Got a lot of time to think. It begs to be let in. While I would pay to be let out. The name game. The name game. Come on, everybody. I say, now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name, I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F, more an M will appear. And then I say bo at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fanner, and foe. Then I say the name again with an F, very plain. And a fee, fi, and a mo. And I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. But if the first two letters are ever the same, I drop them both, then say the name. Like Bob, drop the B's, Bo, or Fred, drop the F's, fo, red, or Mary, drop the M's, mo, airy. That's the only rule that is contrary. Be right, bo, e right, banana, fana, fo, fee right, fee, fi, mo, me right. Be right, the name game. Wow. Thank you so much for that resub. I want to say, y'all, thank you. Officially, my subs go to me, officially, but I do want you to know that I just funnel them in so I can help pay for the RPG folks. And I'm doing like 2 RPGs a week in July, and hopefully also 2 RPGs a week in August. So I'm gonna, it's a little bit more cast pay. So I appreciate all the subs. It is much appreciated. PH says, as a layman, my solution would be to have the people who participated train their replacements, then be forced to resign. Yeah, it's tricky, right? Because we're talking about not just entry-level positions, but all the way up and down the line. And I think that was like... And then what do you do with those people? What happens to them? Right? There was like I think there was a lot of concern about if you don't do... a lot of people thought about this for a long time, right? If you don't do this right, if you don't reintegrate people into society, you're going to cause a bigger problem. And so how do you reintegrate people into society? Time of Gift says, John le Carré's novel, A Small Town in Germany, is inspired by the partial denazification of the German bureaucracy, please. Oh, Time of Gifts. I'll have to go and find that and read it, because I like le Carré, and I haven't read that one. And that sounds really interesting. I am going to go and put that on my list, because boom, done. On my list. Thank you. You've been on the channel too long. We can actually sing along in the name game in harmony. Yes! Yes. Also, still no visitors. Yeah, I think it's interesting. I have another story about this that I think is sort of fascinating to think about. By the way, day 115. Why are there a bunch of tailless sprats running about? This facility don't have a sprat catcher on the roster. Maybe I should file a request with acquisitions for one. Teacup canids are famed for their ability to hunt sprats, after all, and for keeping people company. Day 116, no visitors. Day 117, no visitors. Can't finish my game of solitaire. Someone stole a handful of cards from the deck. Day 119, desk unmanned. Unsuccessfully hunted for the missing cards. Day 151 to 250. I wanted to tell you about my ex-girlfriend's father. That's what I want to tell you. So day 157, canid request was denied. 158, we've run out of caffeinoid. Our first restocking shipment isn't set to arrive until the new fiscal year. I guess that delivery will mark the facility's first visitors. Now there's something to look forward to. Day 159, did some digging in the system records. It turns out our supplies are set to be delivered by, get this, a crew of automechanicals. Day 182, thought I heard knocking in the front door, but it turned out to be just some thunder. Always thunder. Funny how it can sound like so many different things. A boom, a crack, a snap, knocking, laughing, screams. Day 277. I've started venturing outside. At first I worried something fierce about all the lightning strikes. Sometimes the electromechanical turbine goes in the frisk without warning, but I'm out of cards and out of caffeinoid, and there's not much else to do. Day 301. Turns out I no longer need to feel safe. What I need is to feel alive. Outside, the wind howls like a raging god, and the rain stabs into my throat like 1,000
Name game.
tiny frozen needles. And in that pain, well, I feel so very alive. Day 322. My many and varied attempts to trigger an on-site inspection from the Special Committee for Auditing and Management have failed. Day 353. Sometimes, when I look over the ledge, I think about what it would feel like, how easy it'd be to simply tip forward, to plummet, with all those clouds kissing my face, to fall away from the storm, to smile, then break. Whew, somebody is not feeling well. But I feel well, and you know why? Because of the name game. Come on, everybody. I said, now let's play a game.
Name game.
I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name, I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B on F, on M will appear. And then I say bo at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fan, or info. Then I say the name again with an F, very plain. Then a fee, fi, and a mo. Then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. Toy Boat Sailor. Toy Boat Sailor, Boy Boat Sailor, Banana Fanta for 4 Boat Sailor, Fee, Fi, Mo, Boat Sailor. Toy Boat Sailor, Shuliel,
Name game.
Bobuliel, Banana Fanta for Fuliel, Fee, Fi, Momuliel. Shuliel, Susanna Grace, Bubana Grace, Banana Fanta for Fufana Grace, Fee, Fi, Munana Grace. Susanna Grace, Gempaws, Bobempos, Banana Fanta for Fempos, Fee, Fi, Momempos. Gempaws, Row, Bobo, Banana Fanta for Fo, Fee, Fi, Momo. Row, and I'm gonna do Time of Gifts anyway. Time of Gifts, Bobama Gifts, Banana Fanta for Fun of Gifts, Fee, Fi, Momama of Gifts. Time of Gifts, the name game. Thank
Name
you, Time
game.
of Gifts. Thank you so much. That is. Oh wait, Valtiel, Banana Fanta for Faltiel, Fee, Fi, Momaltiel. Valtiel, Donal, Bonbonal, Banana Fanta for Fonal, Fee, Fi, Momonal. Donal. The name game. Thank you, everyone. I got him. My ex-girlfriend's father was, I love those dancing shoes. Reception logs. Oh, we saw
Name
that.
game.
Those are the receptionists. It's great. Okay, we're good. So I lived in Germany, right, for 5 years. And my ex-girlfriend, who was one of my great exes, like excellent human being, her father was older, right? So she had an older father. So her father was alive during World War II. He was a young man. And he was from a small town in Bavaria, like a small little town. And his mother, his family, they were like, this was a really small town in the German Alps is where they were from, like little teeny tiny town in the German Alps.
Name game.
And they were the only registered communists in that town. And it was a pretty conservative town, and they were the only registered communists. They were there. And the thing is that at that point in time, they were like, you all have to join the Hitler Youth, right? That's like the deal. You all have to join the Hitler Youth. And she said to her son, my ex-girlfriend's father, absolutely not. You are not joining some whack Hitler Youth. Like, that is not going to happen because, no. You know what I mean? And so that was not going to be the case. By the way,
game.
Some of these things seem like they might be really good, so I'm going to keep them for the moment. We can assess their goodness later, right? We'll assess later. So, all right, good. We did all that. Those doors are shut. There's a door open there, and let's go that way. So, because I'm your communist mother, I say so. Yeah. So he doesn't join the Hitler Youth, and there are consequences for not joining the Hitler Youth. And the consequences for not joining the Hitler Youth is that you are immediately drafted and sent to the Eastern Front. So he is sent to the Eastern Front, as you do, and he fights in the Eastern Front. I think he's at Stalingrad, and it's bad. And, you know, in the end, I should do this, is what I should probably do. You know what? I also need, I need to do this, because I am, you know, low on food, and, there's a fight going on here, that's happening at the moment, and, we'll take care of it. It's fine. Also, I feel like I should be able to hack these combat drones, right? Like, I feel like that's a thing that I should be able to do. I don't know what that's about, but ooh, everybody's super damaged. Whew. So he fights in the Eastern Front. He ends up, because he's drafted, he doesn't actually have a choice in that matter. He is captured by the Russians, and that is apparently, he doesn't really talk about what happened so much, but apparently that was not a good scene. And he, at one point in time, the Russians round up all of the German POWs and put them on this train car, and they're like, oh man, we're all gonna die. And they shipped them over to the Americans, because apparently the Russians were like, yeah, we don't want to deal with these POWs, we're gonna ship them over to you. And so when they get picked up by the Americans, the first thing the Americans do is like lay out a bunch of food for them, and they don't they think it's a trap, right? They think it's some sort of a trap. They're like, oh, they're giving us food, this is some sort of a trap, so they don't eat it, because they figure it's some kind of like some sort of trap. Then they realize it's not a trap, so then they all eat everything very, very quickly, because they feel like this is probably the only food they're going to get. So then they all get sick because they overeat. But then it turns out the Americans feed them multiple times a day, which they were like not prepared for. Anyway, so, you know, he comes back after the war. He goes through the whole thing. He still has issues with cleanliness. Like, he washes his hands like 4 or 5 times a day. Like, he's got some stuff. But what happened was that he ended up becoming a Supreme Court judge. He became one of the Supreme Court judges. He became a lawyer and became a Supreme Court judge for the Bavarian State Supreme Court. Now, man, the post-war, yeah. Now, the thing is, what people now do not tend to make any kind of distinction between... People just tend to say that everybody during that time was a Nazi, right? Like, and if you were in the military, like, everybody's a Nazi somehow. And he was not a Nazi. He was actually, right, he wasn't. But we don't tend to make those distinctions. So, which then becomes tricky. So, should he have not been able to be a judge because he had served in the military, because he was drafted during World War II? Some people would say, well, if he was in the military during World War II, he was a Nazi, which he wasn't. But some people don't make those distinctions because distinctions are more difficult, I suppose, to make. It's easier to be like, oh, well, everybody was a Nazi. And so I don't have an answer for you, but I will say that he did get a job as a judge, and he worked as a judge for like his whole life. He made it all the way up right to the Bavarian Supreme Court. And I don't have answers for this, but I do have questions, right? Like, I do know what some of the questions are. He should not have been able to hold public office. Logic for drafter, that means 100% you don't agree. So if he was not allowed to... So I will note that what that means is that because everyone was drafted, all the men were drafted, that means that no man in Germany would have been able to hold any kind of job. And when you have a lot of men who are unemployed, that leads to a lot of radicalism, is what ends up happening. So, yeah, in your opinion, he should have refused to pretend to have been jailed or killed for that. If you drum out everyone that served in the German military, that's an entire generation. Yeah. And the thing is, they wouldn't have jailed him. They just would have sent him to the front anyway. Like, I mean, that's the thing. Like, they would have just sent him to the front anyway, right? I mean, I think that's probably what would have happened. Yeah, so, like, yeah, if he had done that, he would have been fine to hold office. Well, I mean, he would have been dead, right? I mean, he just would have been dead. They would have killed him. Or they would have sent him to the front anyway, because that's the thing. They would just send you to the front anyway, because that's what they do. Yeah. So Germans in the era were all to be shunned unless they... See, that becomes the question. If the only good German is a dead German, then you have consigned an entire generation to being shunned and not rehabilitated. And that leads to, historically, a lot of unemployed young men who are angry, and those people end up doing very bad things. That tends to be how that goes. You know what I mean? So don't think this wrong, but it's easier for us to say it now. What if we're in that situation for real? How would we all react? Well, in that case, you refuse to fight, or the second you're handed a gun, you shoot the nearest officer. Yeah. He got captured by...
Back what I said. Nothing fun about that storm.
Oh, okay. Do you want to tell me something?
You know, I'd been assuming this entire stay on your ship thing isn't a permanent arrangement. Part of my contract. That said, you ain't been eaten or shot to death yet.
No?
Says a lot about the stability of your future. And to be honest, I'm about sick of sleeping on bar stools.
Oh.
So how's about this? You keep letting me stay on that ship of yours, and I'll keep shooting at the things you point at.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Outstanding.
Awesome. What about you? Do you have anything to tell me?
Something on your mind?
No. And honestly, we rightfully disgruntled. Yeah, and no worries. I gotta go for a call. Appreciate the assistance. Of course. Hey, Grumbleskin. I am well. We're talking about. We're talking about. What is this? What do you think that did? I don't know what it did, but it did something. Well, we're talking about denazification. Is what we're doing. Yeah, I might go to 4 so I can get a good full... We will see. We will see. We will see. We'll see how our vibe is. How our conversation is going. There's always something in this channel. Yeah, you know, and it's funny because I was thinking about... Crit, have a good day. I was thinking about a scandal.
Nicely done.
There was a scandal. Well, I think I can do it. I think I can do it. We will see. We will see how it goes. It looks like there's not much in here. I appreciate you being stream mom. Also, what is this? Oh, you know what? I think we have to repair all our repaired stuff is what I think we can do. Because I think my friends have not enough. Also, I would like to... What is up with you, Nyoka? Do you see that she's got this symbol on her? What do you think that symbol's for? What is going on with her? Like, do you need... Your condition's 100%. What's going on? You've got stuff happening. Behaviors drive status effects. Well, I don't know why she's got that stuff going on, but she does. I totally understood. I often run stories like that in my head so I can be deciding how it... Yeah. And I was thinking about this, right? So this is like I'm going to bring up a thing that I find quite upsetting. Which is why I think... So here, if you look at her... Here, where is she? Do you see that? Her name, it says Nyoka, then it has like an armor symbol ×3 right above her name. And Ellie doesn't have that, but she does, and I don't know why. I don't know what that means. So, still want to talk about external versus internal locus of control. So here's the thing I was thinking about, right? This is about, so I'm thinking about like my ex's dad, right? Who was drafted, fought on the Eastern Front, was a POW, and then, you know, became a Supreme Court judge. Maybe it's a buff? Oh, hi! Here, let's do this. Also, I feel like I might have a better weapon for mechanicals. I don't know if I do, but I feel like this might be better. I don't know if it is, but also, let's do this, because we need food. And let's shoot some things. Yeah, let's do that. Let's shoot some things with my big gun, because... oh, also, everybody should use their powers. Everybody use your powers. Right? Yeah, use your powers, everybody. I think we're good. Yes, I think we're good. And then let me repair all equipped. And accept. Okay. When do the grocers shut for you? Yeah, like we don't have we're not like Europe that has like end dates. Like we just keep working forever. Also, I should be able to like hack these things in some way. I don't know how that's gonna work. There's got to be some way to hack them. I don't know how it is. We'll work it out. So I was thinking about him, right? Oh, they close it at 9. Disable Sentry Hostility Protocol. Great. Continue. Site Safety Engineers logs. I'm thinking about the ways in which it is often convenient for people outside of Germany to sort of frame all of Germans as Nazis, like just to really no nuance there. It's like this all the same, and I really feel like and I think about like my ex's father, right, who was communist, drafted, Eastern Front, POW, all that stuff, and then I think about this famous musicologist, Egebrecht was his name. He's a German musicologist. And he was a well-known, he was like a really important German musicologist in Germany post-war. He studied German music, Beethoven and all that, really famous. And I mean, even all the Reich didn't follow the Nazi dictates, did they? No. Gere, could you ban NFG Berlin, if you don't mind? So this guy, it turns out somebody did some digging, and it turns out he was a Nazi war criminal, right? Like he was a member of the Waffen SS and like the Totengruppe, the Death's Head, right? Totenkopf, the Death's Head groups, and he participated in the mass execution of Jewish people in the Eastern Front. Like they would just they would walk into towns and they would just shoot people, thousands of people, just shoot them all. And he killed all these people, and then he lied about it and hid his past, and so people didn't know about it. And it came out after he died. And there was a big debate about it in musicology circles, which I thought was absolutely inappropriate. People were like, well, I don't know. I was like, no. He just killed a bunch of like, come on. He was in a volunteer group. It was a volunteer group. You had to volunteer to get in this group, and they committed genocide. They committed war crimes in a volunteer group that he volunteered to be in, and then he lied about it. And I feel like it's important to recognize that there are differences between somebody like him and somebody who was drafted and didn't want to be there, right? I just kind of feel like it's important to think about those things. You know, that's what I think. For me, the grocery runs 6 on a Saturday, except for in convenience stores. Yeah. When I lived in Germany, the time of gifts, it was 2 o'clock on Saturday and 6 p.m. during the week, and everything was closed on Sunday. Javai says, also, at what does the line get drawn? Like, when did you have to die before being a Nazi forever? Like, sure, it was fast, but there was a process to take time. Yeah. The punishment has to fit the crime. Yeah, and I wonder, and so, I mean, I suppose the question is, what is the crime of being a U.S. citizen, right? Because if we are all implicated, right, in everything that our government does, then what crime should I be punished with because my government is illegally occupying Hawaii right now? Do you know what I mean? And I'm paying taxes to that government. So I'm financially and directly supporting the illegal occupation of Hawaii. So what punishment should I get for that? Right, that would be a question. So from the manual, in the unfortunate event of a necessitated downsizing, the most senior site safety engineer, or the sole member on assignment, shall initiate, by mandate of Auntie's corporate headquarters, the Pink Slip Protocol manufacturer's directive included within all automechanicals stationed at the facility. From the site safety engineer, sit there and guard the red button, they said. Sounds like an easy paycheck, I said. I'm not going to live in a secret lab in the middle of a gas giant storm-riddled atmosphere, my ex-wife said. No one told me I'd eventually have to press the button I was guarding, the Pink Slip Protocol button, the final choice between diligent duty or my friends. On second thought, let's be honest, they were never my friends. Once I've disabled the protocol and scrubbed the labs, I'll ask corporate for a reassignment. I hear Emerald Vale's real nice this time of the year. It's not. Recent security complaints. Regarding sprat tails and coffee. Complaint. Whoever keeps cutting off the sprat tails and dropping them into innocent, unguarded cups of coffee needs to cut it out, or I'll cut off something of yours next. It's not funny. I'm tired of cleaning up coffee-colored vomit. Reporter, Junior Custodial Assistant, Gracie G. Goldmain. Complaint. Missing Queen of Hearts, 5 of Clubs, all aces, and the 3, 7, 8, and 9 of Spades. Last seen on my desk in a solitaire spread. Reward if found. A friendly game of whist. Even if not returned, we can make do. Really, come play with me. Betting not required. Or we can place bets if you'd rather. I've got a couple packets of sugar-free 0% sweetener left I could barter. Receptionist, Kelly. Regarding power outage thefts. Complaint. Some thefts have been happening each time the power goes off, and the power keeps going off for longer each time. Coincidences? I think not. Folks are getting antsy as the year and the storm stretches, and that makes them mean. Reporter, SSE George, self-reported. All right. Okay. Let's do this. I was thinking about the Marshall Plan, actually. Some of this has to do with the Marshall Plan as well. We can think about this as part of it. I wouldn't draw the line, but it's an interesting thing to consider. I think part of this, right, so there's a lot of discussion about one of the things that helped World War II happen was that the Allies felt that Germany needed to be punished after World War I and laid in a bunch of punishments, right? And those punishments meant that Germany's economy was not particularly great. There was a lot of unemployment. There's a lot of resentment. There's a lot of things that happened. And that the kind of retributive justice post-World War I directly led to World War II. And post-World War II, the United States especially was like, we cannot do this again. We cannot, and some people really wanted to be super retributive, and they're like, we need to, punish Germany for this. And they're like, no, I think what we need to do is we need to rebuild their country. Like, we need to give them money and infrastructure. We need to spend a lot of money rebuilding Germany post-World War II, or else this will happen again. And some people said, why would you reward them for their bad behavior? They don't need to be rewarded, they need to be punished, right? Like, this is, it would be inappropriate to basically rebuild a whole bunch of people, all of whom are guilty, for terribleness. But strategists and politicians, etc., decided that that would only result in a repetition of history once again, and that really the best thing to do is to rebuild, like spend a lot of money in the Marshall Plan to rebuild Germany, to make sure that people have employment, that people have a means forward, a society to reintegrate into, and a means to reintegrate. And a bunch of people were mad, and they were like, we don't think this is appropriate. We think this is the last thing that should happen. And so I think that there's a lot of
kick 'em down.
debate about what to do with people who have committed crimes, either actively or passively. And do we do? Is this a space for restorative justice? Is this not a space for restorative justice? What are our ideas about crime, punishment, justice? These are questions that revenge, right? What are our goals? And this is not just about Germany post-World War II. It's about like all sorts of things, right? Like if you rob someone because you need money to buy food, you get shipped off to Australia, right? And it's a crime. You committed a crime. Do we agree? What do we think about that, right? Like, well, yeah, like there's a lot of philosophical questions about crimes. What counts as crimes? Who decides? Forgiveness, rehabilitation. I do not have the answers to any of these big, big questions, but I do know that these are some of the big questions that, that we have to deal with. Also, I really just want to find our person, and I feel like we will. And I don't know, but I do know that there are practical issues, right? There's ideological issues and practical issues. which actually is about Eastern Germany. Hey, Laugh Love Lindy. Hey, Lindy. Lindy, we're co-working later today. I mean, while it's more complex than that, the reparations levied on Germany is a huge part of how Hitler rose upon the first. Yep, yeah. Marshall Plan as restorative justice. Yeah, I mean, that's right. That was part of what it was. Japan's involvement was almost mostly due to it getting not when punished, the short end of the stick as far as reparations went up. Yeah. We're going to treat Russia like Weimar Germany because we don't learn from history. And don't, yeah. So actually, this is actually interesting because we can look at this in terms of German reunification. So I lived in Germany from 1992 to 1997, and I lived in Bavaria. And of course, the wall fell earlier, but this is a time of like, this is when reunification's happening. And when I was in Germany, there was a rise of neo-Nazism in specifically East Germany, but not West Germany. There were a whole bunch of neo-Nazis that would just sort of showed up out of nowhere, that just showed up in Eastern Germany. And there are reasons why neo-Nazis showed up in Eastern Germany post-unification. And I think people don't want to necessarily talk about those reasons, but there are reasons. And those reasons have to do with integration, how people are integrated post-change. And I'm already seeing it, says Krellin, because our response to Russia's actions have been to totally isolate them, which is not how you get people to behave the way you want them to. So the 90s. Let me go and sell some stuff, by the way. Oop. Ooh. Hey, other doc. We're talking heavy history. So when the unification happened, there was a sense that from some people that the West won, right? That the West won, they won the war. And since they won the war, and the East Germans lost the war, then what needs to happen is that the the reunification was basically framed as the absorption of Eastern Germany by Western Germany. So Eastern Germany had to then adopt all of the things of Western Germany, and none of the things of Eastern Germany could be adopted. So the Eastern Germans lost a lot of things because they lost the war, right? Because communism lost and capitalism won, and so they lost. And there are some effects of this. So, for example, in Eastern Germany, women had the right to an abortion. In Western Germany, that was not the case when I lived there, and I think it's still not the case technically. I think you can get an abortion with like a prescription from your doctor or whatever, but like I don't know if they've actually changed that paragraph. But basically, post-World War, because Hitler forced abortions on people, Western Germany made abortions illegal. So women did not have the right to abortions in the way that women had the right to abortions in Eastern Germany. Valtio, did they sell a law about it last week? Oh, that's amazing. Congratulations. That was a lot of my friends were fighting for that one long and hard for the right of abortion. So point being that if you were Eastern German, you, after unification, you lost your right to abortion. Both should school counselors offer occupation as overseer to students when they take generalized occupational aptitude test? Also, why scientists wish to insert quantum harmonizer in my photonic resonance chamber? I don't even know that fellow. Question. Abortion in Germany is illegal, but not punishable during the first 12 weeks of pregnancy under the condition of mandatory counseling. It is permitted later in pregnancy cases. Yeah. So the thing is, it was not illegal in Eastern Europe. So those Eastern European women lost rights. Also, Eastern Europe, as a communist country, had a bunch of other rights when it came to things like unemployment, and there were a bunch of things that they had, and they lost all of those things. They lost a bunch of their social safety net, and their social safety net was basically wrecked, was not replaced. A lot of them lost their jobs because many of their jobs were not efficient under capitalism, and they lost a lot of those things. And there were like a lot of other things that were part of this under the meritocracy of capitalism, and like a really small, stupid thing, but not stupid to people at the time, the Bundesliga, right? So like East Germany had their their major leagues for football, as did East Germany, West Germany, and when they integrated, basically the East German teams were deemed not good enough. I think Dynamo Dresden, like there was like maybe one or two teams that would make it in, but they'd often get relegated and kicked back down. Like they're just basically not good enough. And so the East Germans, a lot of East German young men were out of work, were told that they had lost and were shameful, were sort of humiliated in various ways. And being unemployed and not having, what is this? Some chops. Let's eat this. Oh, let's not eat that. Let's eat, what is this? Is this food? No, those are cigarettes. Is this food? It is. This is sliced bread. Let's, and there's 5 of them. So let me eat this. I ate it. And then let me, well, okay. Oh, all right, it's fine. I should be able to hack this now.
You make it
There
look
we go.
so easy.
So you had a bunch of young men who were disaffected, who had lost, a lot of people had lost a lot of the rights they used to have, but they shouldn't complain about it because now they're part of capitalism, and isn't that great? And they don't even get to have their soccer teams. And what ends up happening is a lot of them, there's another element that goes into this. A lot of them being unemployed, 20, frustrated and angry, without a lot of prospects, in a place that's bad, they end up becoming neo-Nazis. They became radicalized and they became neo-Nazis. Now, part of this also has to do with the fact that Eastern Germany taught in their schools that they had nothing to do with Nazism because they're communists and they were anti-Nazi, so therefore they were not culpable, which meant that was a bit more of an attractive ideology for them since they didn't learn the same kind of things about it. But it's the same reason why so many young men who are hopeless in the United States become red pillars and fascists, right? So having a lot of people who are disaffected, angry, hopeless, not integrated, ostracized, and with nobody reaching out to them, but people only saying bad things about them, it turns them radical. So the question is, do you want to reach out to people to try to get them into the community? Or do you want to say, well, they're bad people, so we don't want them in the community, or they could become bad people, and then they become radicalized and start shooting folks, you know what I mean? So the question is, how do you want to create a society, and can you be forgiven? Is there such a thing as forgiveness? Or is it better to have people is it still what, like, you know, is our need to punish people or to feel pure, or our ideological purity, more important than the practicality of a large population of young angry men just being left to themselves? You know, that's a bit of a question. The law repealed prohibited doctors from giving information about abortions. Abortion is still illegal, but doctors can talk about it now. Time of Gift says, well, if the French occupation of the Ruhr, when the Weimar government said a recession meant it couldn't pay reparations in 1924, the government's decision to pay the striking miners who refused to work for the French occupiers, which made the hyperinflation 20s Germany really, really bad, which in turn broke the turn of the middle class, trust the middle class. So with the, well, yeah, altogether, yeah. Cron says, also, any prosecutors and sentences for violating that law since 1980 were also expunged, repealed. Yeah. More complex, right? Yeah, it's like super complex. It's a complex thing. Yeah, but like it's what is this? Password disabled. Notice, password input disabled. Too many failed password attempts. Last login. Perfect recall when the numbers and letters are swimming around on the page. At the time doesn't help with the horse. Oh gosh, okay. Incoming messages. From Emora. 2 lead chemists, Dr. Jasper Lowe. Auntie Cleo's corporate headquarters, Chief Efficiency Inspector, Dr. Alana Mora. Subject, the last and lethal warnings, pink slip protocol will be coming. Advisory notice to the lead chemist at the Olympus Orbital Pharmaceutical Station. No satisfactory results have been submitted in 11 months, pursuant to Clause 0059 PSP 733.25. If measurable and material proof of progress are not approved within 31 days, station personnel may be found to be in dereliction of duty, and as a result could be prematurely terminated. Auntie Cleo's corporate headquarters, Special Committee for Auditing and Management. Who cares about your health more than Auntie Cleo? Nobody. Postscript. Jazz, my darling genius, as you are likely now aware, I must humbly regret to inform you that my exhaustive efforts to protect that beautiful, oversized brain of yours, and consequently its nefarious agenda, are in fact failing faster than your rumored last project on Gorgon. I repeat, the corporate hounds are onto your dodgy scent, and it's made them thirst and bay for blood. If I cannot supply the executive floor with tangible, undoctored results, and soon, I'm heartbroken to report that Pink Slip Protocol will be initiated by majority vote, and the project will be scrubbed, wholly and completely. I trust you understand the full weight of what that means. One Can project is an embarrassment of epic proportions, twice as unforgivable. Please, 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 I'm begging on bended knee, send me a working prototype. At this stage, even a fatally flawed one will do. Save yourself and your lab coats before this reflects poorly on my permanent record. Eternally yours, at least until the next failed delivery milestone, your Chief Efficiency Officer, Dr. Mora. Ooh. Source for repeal. Oh, wow. Thanks, Krellin. Let me copy that link so that I can read that later. Because that, like, my friends have been fighting for that for decades and decades. So that's really, really... Thank you. The French Foreign Legion also received a significant influx of former East German soldiers who were not comfortable with the idea of being a member of an all-German army. Yeah. There's a lot in there that was really complicated. But this makes me think of something that I think about quite a lot. To Mora, last and lethal. Nora Mora, my once darling, you are likely now well aware, I don't want you to beg. I don't want you on bended knee. I don't want anything except to feed this infernal, indefensible, insatiable need. I'm so close, so very nearly at the cusp of salvation. Then, and only then, will I send you that blasted Anthrocillin Plus, a ludicrously simple modification I could formulate in my sleep, or if it was sleep. No longer yours, no longer anyone's, but that elusive and fleeting embrace of chemical virtuosity, with regret, Jasper. You understand, do you not, darling? From the very first test, from that first accursed step, every path, every infinitely random dice roll of emerging cosmic routines was leading us to the same destiny. This is bad, everybody. I'm gonna go a little bit longer because I feel like we can finish this. And we may not actually speak about internal versus external locus of control yet, but we will get there. Maybe Thursday. Pink Slip Protocol. Really, you hull heads went there? Never would I have thought you'd stoop so low, or more accurately, to be so moronic as to cut off your own nose to spite your faces. True, the project's delayed, but you all know I would have delivered more than adequate results eventually, once I'd ascended to the highest peak of my genius. We were less than months away. Not that I expect a pea-brain layman to understand. Nora is wasted on you lot. I'm wasted on you lot. And, might I just add, though I might have invited you to do your worst, you did try your best, but I'm still alive. Nevertheless, I do go on. And never, ever forget. Payback will be swift, oh yes. I scarcely think you'll see it coming. Just as soon as I perfect my formula and can focus on other matters, then you will rue the day you pink slip the great Jasper Lowe! Buffoons! Eternally misunderstood and undervalued, and still misappropriating your precious company resources, the employee formerly so known as Dr. Jasper Lowe. Well, somebody's got a very high opinion of himself. It seems. Yeah. I'm bad at... Yeah. No, I do care, but I just feel like I'm allowed this one. What is this? Ooh. Olympus Station orbital key card. That looks great. If I had a big thing, I would stop it. Okay. This is April 1st. Okay, so... Here's the thing I want to say, yeah? This is a concern I have. Can I hack? Is there a way to hack? Is there a way to do that? Can I hack? What would hacking look like? Wouldn't be one of those things. Let's see. I want to see if I can hack. Can I hack? Is that a thing I can do? Yes. Hack. We're going to hack it. I'm hacking it. Hey, I hacked it. Well, it didn't go fine for me. Maybe I need to get better hacking. Okay, so This, by the way, what we're talking about, like reintegrating people into society or deciding that people are no longer worth it, is one of my concerns with the rhetoric around white men. There's a lot of, oh gosh, and let me do this. There's a lot of treating white men like they're always, always evil. And, oh, hi. And a lot of like easy demonization and vilification of white men, especially poor white men. And I am worried about that because that does not give those white men any way in, right? They have no way into the community if they're always bad guys. And it's easy to be like, well, I don't care about white men. Who cares about them? Because they've got all the privilege and they're the worst. But if you're an 18-year-old white man who does not have a lot of role models and doesn't know who you want to be, and like you have some choices between maybe like hanging out with some people who seem like they could be cool and progressive, and all they do is tell you that you're the worst person ever and you should hate yourself, you're probably not going to hang out with them. And there are some people who are saying things to them like, hey, we like you, and they're neo-Nazis. So I feel like if we do not give people a space to integrate into our community, they're not going to. And I know that some people who have been hurt find comfort in attacking people who represent the people who've hurt them, right? Like some people enjoy beating up people who beat up on them, and they gain satisfaction being like, yeah, I'm gonna, like, it's okay for me to beat up on insert X group here, and just like doing that because it makes them feel good short term. But A, I don't think that's particularly healthy, and B, I don't think that is going to do what you think it does in the long run. I think what it will do is it'll just push, if we do not make a space for example, straight white men to be part of the community without being villains, then they will not be part of the community and then they will become villains. And I don't want that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I do not want that. I want a community that has everybody in it, a community of equality and that does not, I do not have hack 100. Dang it. Maybe hacking is like axe hacking, and yeah. Haka says, yeah, like being accused of being racist because you disagree with someone that is not white. And the thing is, then what ends up happening is that people double down, right? People double down, like, oh, okay, well, if that, then I am, right? And I just, there's a lot of like, throw group X in the trash. And it's okay to say that because group X is perceived as having privilege in certain vectors. And they do, but they might have no privilege in other vectors. And that is not going to integrate a new community. That's building your community. That's using the master's tools, right? And does Outer Worlds have vegan option for a generalist model? It's a good question. It's a good question. So basically, it's like, and the reason why I think about World War II a lot is because here we are. Do you know what I mean? Do we want to be punitive? Do we want to get satisfaction out of punishing people? Do we want to alienate and isolate a whole demographic of people because it makes us feel better about ourselves? Because they're bad, whatever that means. Because that's gonna have an impact, and it's not gonna be a good one, you know? Javai says, I wonder how the prevalence of short-form social media like TikToks and Twitter affects that, as short-form limits the space for nuance. But Javai, I will add, it's not just that it's short-form. I mean, sure, because you could write longer, right? But it's that the platforms themselves make money off of outrage. So the platform itself encourages inflammatory statements because it generates more views, which means they can make money off of advertising. When people make nuanced tweets or TikToks, the algorithm suppresses those tweets and TikToks because those will not generate more discussion. this is not an accident that inflammatory rhetoric gets more views on these social media sites. It is part of the design of these social media sites, not just because it's short form, but because that's how they make money. We're not paying them, right? So we are the customer to their advertisers, and they need to be able to guarantee eyeballs, and they do that through boosting inflammatory things, right? So this is not accidental. This is part of a strategy to make money on the part of these companies, right? One central problem with the U.S. policy is that there's no class consciousness in it at all, or it's bad class consciousness, like a poorly, like ill-informed. Yeah, class reduction isn't the answer, but it really needs to be recognized how small the group doing the oppression really is. Yes, absolutely. And there's a lot of work that needs to be done, says PH. Hawkeye says it's huge, that shortness. Plus, they love division equals using of algorithms. Yeah, it's by design, drives profit. Absolutely. If it bleeds, it still leads. Yep. Hank Green just reads. Yes, Hank Green did just read something about that, and it was very, very good. If you haven't seen it, you should. It was very, very good. And there was also a really good video by Sarah Zed on West Elm Caleb, which is also about this, about how some of these things are just they're built for this division, for their corporate profits, right? Other Doc says, I remember someone talking about 0 to good versus 0 to bad social meters when dealing with someone, and how that shows up quite a bit. Like, if the best you can ever do with someone is to not currently be screwing up, there's only so much effort you'll want to put in or be able to put in. Yeah. Yes. I have a thought on that, but let me read this first. Anthracillin Plus team. Welcome to the project. What is Anthracillin Plus? Anthracillin plus mint flavor. Works on humans plus canids. Just added a plus sign to the name. As you can see, branding is still working out the kinks, but luckily, we have plenty of time to finish the formula before they finalize the packaging and slogans. Now let's get to working on a bigger, better version of Auntie's Anthracillin. Reminder, friends don't let friends self-test their concoctions. Project update. Notice effective immediately. Team, we're temporarily redirecting our efforts to perfecting Dr. Lowe's proprietary Sky High mix, which maximizes genius and productivity. After sampling Dr. Lowe's Sky High mix, the team agrees that this will enable us to reach our original project goals better in the long run, and is so worth a momentary detour. Oh, y'all. Addiction. We have some meeting notes. Vola says, we have to learn to hack the system and mask the educational content to why Batman is best Marvel character. Yes. This reminds me about, like, there's certain attitudes, right, that I think it's important. So, for example, when I had somebody who come in and was like, why did I get a 9 out of 10 on this assignment? And I was like, because you did it. They're like, yeah, but I should get a 10. What caused you to remove a point from me, right? And the problem is that, and I resist this, there are people who believe that before they write the paper, they start with a 100. And then they write the paper and they have a 100, and then what I'm doing is taking points off of their 100 that they have already earned because of an error. So if I cannot specifically point to the error, they should have a 100, because their mindset is, I have everything, and any reduction is you taking something away from me that I've already earned. Or that is not how I grade. And I keep telling them, it's like, no. You do not start with 100. Because of grade inflation, you start at an 88, right? You start at a B+. An average paper is a B+. If you do everything that you're supposed to do, and it's not inspired, you just did it, it was okay, that's a B+. And then you go up for excellence, and you go down for substandard, sub-average things. But you don't start at perfection. You don't start at perfection, you start in the middle, and then you go up, which you certainly can do, by just putting in, by being more thoughtful, really. But like, the idea is, like, they feel like, well, I'm entitled to 100, and you have to justify giving me not a 100. And that's one way of thinking about it. I also don't start them at 0. I don't start them at 0 and they have to build up. I actually just start them at the average, platonic average, and then we go from there. And like, how you're viewing this depends, right? I just don't think average work is a 100, right? That's not what my grading scale does. But they have been taught to think that an average is a 100, right? So then, right? So how we frame things really matters quite a lot. Javai says that too, but even then, like, if you need to keep it short, saying white men are men is more possible to fit in than all relevant factors. And even if the creators know what they mean and their core audience understands, but then it moves further and people just hear men equals bad because without context it says that. But here's the thing, Javai. You could say some white men. Or you could say what, because we have 260 characters. You can say a lot of nuanced things. You can work that if you want to. If you spend a little bit of extra time to be a bit more careful with your language, you can do it in 260 characters or even just 2 tweets. You can be careful and you can do it. And when you say, well, I know what you mean, and you know what I mean, but do you actually, I don't know what you mean, because you keep saying it. You keep saying the world would be a better place if all men were dead. You keep saying it. And when you say, well, I don't really mean all men, and I was like, well, then please stop saying all men, right? Don't say that. And I will also note that people notice the discrepancy. If I said the world would be a better place if all women were dead, people would murder me. They would be like, how dare you? And if I said, well, you know what I meant, they would say, no, I don't know what you mean. That's not right. You know what I mean? They would lose their mind because that's not appropriate to say. But it is appropriate to say it if I say all men, because we've set up men as a punching bag. And then I can say, but you know what I mean. The problem is that I actually think that you do mean it. I think you do mean all men, with only some exceptions. I think that you're starting here. And even if you didn't mean that, you're being sloppy on purpose in order to feel good and vengeancey in a way that is going to harm a bunch of people, including yourself, and is not good for society. Don't say that. Just don't say it. You don't. If you had a bad breakup with your boyfriend and you're sitting at a bar with your best friends and you want to talk some smack, go ahead and do it. But maybe don't do it on Twitter. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Because there are 15-year-olds right now who are very lost, and they see that, and it has an impact on them. And that impact is not good, and that's not good for our society, is what I'm saying. Grumbleskin says, that's very interesting. I've never thought about it that way. Yeah. Crown says, average is a B+, it's a pretty darn generous. It is generous, but I understand grade inflation, so I'll do it. Right? I think B+ is pretty darn generous, but they get mad at that too. Paladin says, that's a new way of thinking for me. Hawkeye says, like my grading on rotations, you walk with a B because at that point in your schooling as a pharmacist, you should be able to do that at least. Anything they get above that is what they earned. Right, yeah, right. And so and Peach says, too many white men do X. Yeah, too many boom, all of a sudden, you've just changed things altogether, right? That is just 2 words for 8 more characters that you've added that just brings in some nuance right there. Do you know what I mean? It just and that's only 8 characters. You can put that in a tweet. I'm just saying. Krellin says, instead of white men or white men, say patriarchy. Yeah, because it's what you actually mean. Yes, and it allows people to identify that they are not part of the patriarchy, even if they resemble. Yes, right? Or that they might be. We're all part of the patriarchy, but you can resist it. You know what I mean? That's also very good, and that's also a short word, right? Vola says, why tie paper to A or other letter rather than saying you passed and this was a good part of the paper and this needs improvement? Volas, I will tell you why, which is not what I'm going to advocate, but I will tell you an answer to that question, Volas, and I've got a good answer for you that I think that you will appreciate, or you'll be depressed by. I don't know. As the late radio host used to say, words mean things. Yeah. Javai says, I'm not saying I support it. I'm just musing how that others might think. Yeah, and that's not the only thing. Absolutely. Otherlock says, also will say this, truths about bad actors definitely need to be spoken, as do truths about how our society has been made to work by those in power. At the same time, when reading or hearing blanket statements about groups to which I happen to belong, RSD is a bitch. Oh, absolutely. And that's part of it, right? What are we doing, right? What are we doing? And I think that some people have been hurt, and so they hurt others. And some people just like hurting people. And they know that if they hurt certain groups, they won't get called out on it because it's okay to hurt those groups. And that's no good, my friends. That is no good. It's no good. It's no good. A note on today's meeting notes. The record is abbreviated due to an unscheduled chemical leak that permeated the meeting room. The resulting immediate inhalation of noxious gases caused double vision, hallucinations, an uncontrolled sense of giddiness, and projectile vomiting. Side effects occurred in all meeting participants. As such, we cut the time block down to 1 hour from the standard 2-hour review. Meeting notes. Dr. Lowe. Where the devil is Sullivan? I told that numbskull if he missed one more staff meeting. Yates, he couldn't make it, Doctor. He caught his hand in the specimen splicer again. Oh, you mean his remaining hand? Not anymore. What was that? I heard something. Nothing? No, I'm sure it sounded like a... Perhaps it was your imagination, Doctor? Right, right. When isn't it, Jasper? When isn't it? At any rate, he'll require a replacement. For his hands? Don't be asinine. For his productivity. You can't risk falling behind. Not now. Not when I'm, at long last, on the cusp of a breakthrough. You've balanced the mixture, then? Marvelous, Doctor. Bootlicker. I'll have Kel put in a request for a personnel transfer. If we're very lucky, we could get a new body with a supply drop coming next month. Elsewise, we'll have to wait a year. No. This is unacceptable. I distinctly smell... A hissing sound seeps through the vents, coughing. Sabotage. Sabotage! What imbecile scheduled the testing release in this time block? This room is allocated for self-testing Thursdays only. Ha. I don't... Blah. People. 15 minutes, I see it. I will say about C being average, a lot of colleges won't let you progress to the next level unless you get a C, so C has become the new D. Yeah. Fat Lucky showed up and reminded me about time. Yeah. And D is as good as an F. I think that's what Tripper means when he says grade inflation. Yeah, that is exactly what I mean. Pointing out that impressionable 15-year-olds are being pushed these kinds of tweets is a big deal. The kinds of tweets that are the worst are the ones that show up the most to profit. Yeah. Sabotage! So, like, I worry about how we're modeling behavior. What are we modeling? How are we going to integrate people? How are we going to make a better community? And what words we're using matters in that. You know what I mean? And I think we have to think about it and ponder different ways to do it. And we do have to call out things, but the question is, are we calling out injustices or are we beating up people because it's fun? And people sometimes confuse those two things. And that's, you know what I mean? And that's all. Sky High Mix Test Concussion administers to Raptidon. Raptidon exploded. Administered lower dosage. Raptidon exploded but more slowly. Sky High Mix Concoction 9C. Administered single drop to self. Woke on the turbine platform, naked, drenched, and holding a handful of severed sprat tails. Sky High Mix Test Concoction 10. Misplaced calculations. Sky High Mix Test Concoction 10A. Added mint flavoring. Tested on Canid. Breath markedly improved. Canid exploded. This is bad. Y'all, this is bad. Milestone met. 2 met. 3 not met. 4 not met. 5 not met. 6 not met. 7 not met. 8 not met. 9 not met. 12 not met. 10 not met. 12 in progress. Y'all, this is bad. Somebody, they got to their drugs again. I wish I had a... Y'all, this is bad. But you know what, though? Maybe we can, finish the... Looks like we made it. We're Kids Incorporated. Sorry, that was an 80s reference. Okay, I think we've done everything in this area. Look, I want the world to be a better place. That's what I want. And I feel like people have to be in the world in order for that to be a thing. Yeah. So anyhow, Volus. The question is, why use letter grades and not just say, this is what you did well, this is what you didn't do well? Well, here's the answer to that. And now that Kids Incorporated song's in your head, you're welcome. Let me give you an answer to that. And it's an answer that is interesting. And I think the answer is capitalism. But it's also generational. I think there are a couple answers to that question, all of which are a little bit depressing. But I don't know if you know, UC Santa Cruz was a very hippie school in the 60s. And the students protested and did all their student 60s protests, as you do. Let me eat some food. What is this? This is Spacer's Choice. These are cigarettes. We don't want that. I think cigarettes are bad for us and they don't actually increase our... What is this? No. I need some food. Here we go. Here's some food. Here's some food. Cacao ribs. There we go.
Nice going.
Great. Moving and grooving, everybody. So UC Santa Cruz, all the students protest and they said, we don't believe in grades. Grades are the worst. We don't want grades. What we want are performance reviews. Like, rather than grades, professors should write like a page giving us an assessment of how we did. Like what we did well, what we didn't do well. And so UC Santa Cruz, since the late 60s or 70s, did not do grades. They did professors would just write letters to their students telling them how they did. And that lasted for a couple of decades until the newer generation of students. This lasted when my friend was there in the 90s, and they still had this model. They still had the model then. But so the later generation, so I suppose it would have been, yeah, it did it. They lasted that long. It ended not because professors ended it, even though it's a lot more work for professors. Maybe not. Who knows? Anyway, it did not end because of the professors. It is a big workload, actually. But it wasn't the professors that ended this process. It was the students. The millennials decided that they did not like not having grades, because they said not having grades makes it harder for them to tell if they're better than their peers. But more importantly, they're like, we think it makes it harder for us to get into grad school, because grad schools work off of grades, and we want to go, and like, it may not, and here, let's be really fair, a lot of grad schools don't care about your grades in that way. Like, if you were going to go become a musicologist, they don't care about your grades like that because it's musicology, but law school does, and med school does, right? All those like law school, med school, business school, they care about GPA quite a lot. And so the students, because they wanted to be competitive, they are the ones who said that they wanted grades back again. They didn't like not having grades. And so UC Santa Cruz went back to having grades because the students demanded it, because they wanted to get into law school. And they also wanted to be able to say that they're the valedictorian. They wanted to be able to say that they are better than other people. It didn't happen in the 80s. It happened post 80s. It happened because my friend went to college in the 90s, and when she was there, they were still using non-grades. So it happened after the 90s, after the 80s. They made a bad choice, but it's their bad choice to make. So here is the interesting question. So here's the interesting question that goes back to the thing I wanted to say to you, PH, or discuss with you or chat with you about when you said other people's ethical choices are not your burden to bear. I feel like I was here, right? I feel like I was here. Here's what's interesting, is that sometimes people's ethical choices impact you, right? So like, if those students decided that they wanted grades back again, because grades make it better for them to rank how they are versus other people, and they go and they do a policy that now impacts grades, and you come in after them, that choice that they made does impact you. You know what I mean? So I will say it's not like people's choices work in a vacuum. Yeah. Grades do a lot of things. It has some issues, but it's okay. Compromise. Yeah, 2000 letter grades. Thank you. Because I knew that in the 90s they didn't have them, and I knew that they ended up going back to them. So it was 2000 is when they were going to go back to it. Well, there we go. It was, there you go. Yes. Also, we were here. We've got to find our way, because we're getting to the time. So we've got to find our way. We will do it. We just probably went through a wrong turn. Well, let's go this way. This is going to be it. Hello, everyone. That's the general my ethical framework, but obviously, yeah. And I think I will say, generally speaking, there are some people who are always up in your business, right? There are always going to be people who are always going to be up in your business. But generally speaking, I find the most difficult ethical conundrums to solve are the ones where somebody says, your choices are impacting my choices, right? So for example, you want to do a thing with yourself, I don't care, right? But when you argue that when what you're arguing is going to impact me personally, then we end up getting into struggle, right? Often because people will be like, well, but I have the right to do whatever I want to do, like my rights, et cetera, et cetera. And you're like, yeah, but you are representative of my category. And when you say that you, as a member of this category, want X, Y, or Z, but I'm a member of that category and I do not want X, Y, or Z, you are going to make it harder for me, right? So like, and then you know, et cetera, et cetera. This is where a number of debates have happened in a number of ways that I do not have an answer for. I feel like I've been here, right? So we're going to go in here. We're going in here. We're going to solve this problem. And we're going to solve this mission because we are being productive and solving a mission. And we all know it. Hello. Solving a mission.
Shush. No talking. Concentrating. Damn it. I almost had it. The formula was in my mind and I almost had it. I was so close to a breakthrough, I could practically taste it. You really did pick the worst time to manifest.
Yeah, so all I'm saying is that once we finish talking to this guy, we're probably going to get his key card, so we can just clear out this room and go back to our ship, and then we'll call the session. And then we've finished a mission. Actually, two. So that makes us productive for today. Carlin says, kind of makes sense. Booming labor market at the time meant employees could be pickier about candidates and thus cultivated a culture of rank jockeying, yeah. Let's see. Are you all right? You're rambling.
Am I rambling?
Yes.
That's somewhat concerning, but not necessarily unexpected. Logorrhea is a well-documented side effect of withdrawal.
Oh.
Oh, hang on. I see what's happening.
Yes.
You're real. Ergo, not a hallucination.
That is correct.
This is interesting. I have several questions for you. Let's start with the obvious. Who are you, and how are you even alive?
Yes, I'm Alex Hawthorne of the Unreliable. You must be Jasper Lowe.
Dr. Jasper Lowe? You see my uniform. Don't demote me like that.
Oh, I see.
Right. That answers that. Next question.
Yes?
Do you come bearing fresh pharmaceuticals?
Something tells me he's not looking for caffeinoid, Captain.
I suspect that's
Look,
true.
we all know you're here to interrogate me. If I'm going to go through this ordeal, I'm not doing it sober.
Okay. I will charm him. I will lie to him. I will distract him. No, I will lie to him.
Ugh, stale drugs.
Yeah, I got stale drugs.
Well, what's one more disappointment anyway?
Interesting device you got there. What are you taking?
You mean my inhaler?
Yes.
It's designed to deliver a highly concentrated
to roll
dose of
before.
Sky High right through my respiratory system. The formula's still a work in progress.
That wasn't the job.
Clears my mind for a few precious moments.
Yeah.
The rowdy tenants of my mind palace stop their chattering, and in that silence, I experience clarity. Inspiration through inhalation. That's Sky High. Or it will be, once I perfect my formula.
Yeah, you could use some inspiration, Doc. Relax. Take an inhale. Go ahead.
Cap, come on. This guy's got a problem.
You're right.
Doctor's orders.
Who's he, what's he now? Take an inhale?
Well, maybe I shouldn't have done
Yes, yes.
that. Maybe.
An excellent suggestion.
Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Okay. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that. That was probably a bad idea.
Much
It
better.
wasn't very nice.
My mind is clear.
Okay, so I need to
So are my sinuses, in fact.
get inside the chem lab on Gorgon.
No, you don't.
I do.
There's nothing interesting in the chem lab.
For you.
There's nothing interesting in Gorgon at all.
No.
Gorgon is a featureless rock dragged along by the gravitational current of a barren asteroid belt. The chem lab is a graveyard. You won't find anything there but the dead.
Sounds familiar. Something warning me to stay off of Gorgon.
Well, it wasn't me. I've been stuck in this place for ages. In any case, it's becoming obvious you're not listening to sensible warnings. If you've set your heart on exploring my old labs, I won't try to dissuade you.
He did, right?
Indulge me with a favor, and I'll give you the access you want.
What is it?
The electromechanical turbine is offline.
Yes.
Without any power, I can't possibly continue my work. Be a dear and reactivate it for me. That's all I ask.
This sounds like one of those problems you could fix on your own.
No, I'm not stepping out of my lab. Not under any circumstances. I can't bear to look at what's out there. Take the elevator to the storm platform at the top of this facility. Reactivate the turbine, and I'll give you the access you want.
Okay, but hold on, I've got more questions.
Of course you do. Well then, let's hear them.
What's that draft message on your office terminal all about?
Did you
I did.
snoop through my thing?
I snooped.
Just admit it to me.
Yes.
You do have gall, I'll give you that.
I'm a hacker and a
I
bartender.
keep a draft on my terminal where I vent my occasional frustrations with upper management. It's honestly one of my less detrimental coping methods,
Oh,
as I am not stupid enough to fill out the name in the address field.
fair. I want to talk to you about Project Gorgon,
One
though.
thing at a time, my chatty accomplice.
All right.
Turbine repairs first.
All right.
Interviews later.
All right. I'll go. We're going to just go and solve that turbine situation. We're also going to save. Save. I don't think it'll be much longer. Then we're going to go. Because I got some prep to do. And I'll overwrite the save later. This guy just, he went, hi, Chromatic. A computer hacker and an axe hacker. Yeah. A bar hacker. Let's see. Let's go up here. You know more than others. Auntie relies on your discretion. Ooh, a dwarf Decker and Shadowrun. Ooh. Yeah, anyway, I just kind of want us to be mindful about the impact of our words. And that's what I want. I want us to be mindful about those things. And elevator. Is this not our elevator? No? It's fine. I feel like this is not it. Always been the way I played Elf Deckers. As much charm as Deck Wizard. Ooh. Krellin, I have a thing to tell you, but I cannot tell you because it's secret. But it is about Cyberpunk, but I cannot tell you now. But note that it's on my mind. I've got Cyberpunk on my mind. Oh, I am out of food. So let's just eat that. And then, oh man, why can't I hack that? Dang it. Unacceptable. Am I going for a shadow jog? Maybe a shadow stroll? Y'all, there are things I want to do, RPG-wise, and I hope I get to do them. Also, there are RPG things on the table. I need to make some messages. I don't think this is. I don't think. Okay. Oh no, we can do it. It's fine. We're good. We're good. We're good. You are an experienced Shadowrun GM. This is true. Not in the Shadowrun system, but there are some things that I've been. Oh, here we go. Pondering about in my brain. Oh, you're playing Cyberpunk tomorrow. First session. Nice. Cyberpunk Red, the Ultra Saurian games. Oh. Cyberpunky Brewster? Yeah. I know there's other doc. I kind of cannot tell you right now. I know. I just want you to know how frustrated I am about how I want to play all the RPGs. And I do not have the time to play all of them, but I want to. Okay, y'all, we are going to do this with a swiftness. We're going to fix this problem. Activate electromechanical. Well, let's diagnose first. Maintenance required. Okay, let's activate. Offline 2. So we're going to have to do some maintenance, it looks like, which I hope it will not be. Look, I really want to finish this mission so that I can say that I finished a mission. But also we had some super exciting conversations about all of that. So let's go up here. Hello, turbines.
Incoming!
Oh, hi. Hi, how you doing? I think this... how are you doing? Are you... What's going on here? What's happening? Are you impossible to kill? What's going on? Hey, what's happening? What's going on here? I don't like it. What's happening? I'm like, why is this happening like this? I don't like it. Also, I'm getting shot. I don't like that either. Okay. I think we're okay. Ooh. Oh, ooh, okay. You've just been chatting with some folks this week, and that setup will probably be way too many games when they all start up. Yeah. The thing is, I have some goals that I would like to meet when it comes to gaming goals, but I also have got... Y'all, I just got these 2 surprise deadlines for this week, and I've got one more that's like not... that's also a deadline, but not...
How'd you do that so fast?
not the same. What's up? Oh, okay. Here, do that. Or do that. Oh, I'm so sorry. Where are we shooting? Oh, here we go. All right. Excuse me. Excuse me. There we go. Taken care of. Taken care of. Everybody's okay, except for kind of Yoka, who's kind of not okay. I was shooting Yoka, which was, like, pretty awkward, and I was like, I'm sorry about that. This is not that big of an area. We should be able to, like, get where we need to go. Okay. We're gonna just kill some drones, I suppose. Yeah, I have this really cool idea. I actually have a lot of... I will tell you what, though. Conversations are happening. I just have to work out the timing. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is really what it comes down to, is can I figure out the time to do some of these things? Considering that I'm on the Budget and Priorities Committee, I'm doing pre-major advising, I'm teaching at a prison, I am maybe doing redacted thing I can't say, because people should not know that just yet. I mean, who knows? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know. So, yes, Cyberpunk Red? Yes, yes, yes. Nice. Okay. What is this? Let's use this. Yeah, I know. Look, I'm gonna just say this. There was a whole problem with closed captioning that came up. A whole problem with closed captioning that came up. In that our university decided that all audio and video files that are posted on any of our websites need to be closed captioned. And I'm teaching in a prison. Also, I cannot get... Okay, so we'll do it this way. And the thing about closed captioning is that this may not be a big deal if you are
Nice work.
in many, many departments, but I am in the music department, and I have about 200 songs per class in my classes, and you cannot auto-caption songs because auto-captioning does not work for singing, so it has to be hand-captioned, and at an estimate of 10 minutes per minute, we are looking at 200 hours of work per class. Outsourcing that would cost for the full department, and if I have 2 classes, it's like 400 extra hours a semester to do the captioning by hand. If we outsource this, it would cost over $300,000, which the university will not pay for. Our department would have to pay for, and our department has a budget of $250,000 a year, so we cannot afford to do it, outsource it, so we all have to do it by hand personally. And yeah, but if I got everything done, if I got my class up by Thursday, which I did, then I do not have to caption at least the fall. So that's done. But that was like a surprise deadline. So I had a bunch of these things that I was like, wow, thanks for letting me know. That's pretty awesome. Thanks a lot. Yeah. I had a friend who works in this prison. Tough job on mental health. Yeah. Civilians and obscure musical instruments were mentioned last week. Also lack of funds. Yeah, it was no good. No, they don't believe in exceptions. They don't. And I was just... So here's the thing. I was just looking up what laws they're citing. And the laws they're citing are from the 70s and the 90s. So I want to know what happened recently to cause this. Do you know what I mean? That's what I want to know. I'm just... Because something must have happened. And it would be nice if their policy was about progress towards, so that we could move a bit more like move towards it, and then do them well as opposed to just do them crappy. I don't want to do any crappy subtitles. Oh, hello. How are you? Can I hack you?
Here they come.
Oh, I can't hack you, so let's just do this right now. Let me just shoot you. What are you shooting at? Oh, you. Hi. Oh, I just died. It was killing at me. Did I save? Yeah, Crone says someone must have done a big goof to screw that connection, and I actually agree with you. I think somebody must have done a big goof. Yes. Somebody can add some depth to us. Yeah. Right, and the thing is, situations are always different. I was actually Hawkeye. Some of you might think this is interesting. When I was talking, apparently the science people are actually very worried about this too, because science people use a lot of. I think. Here's a question. Okay, so we did save after doing that one tower, so that's good. We're good there. Life is good. Excellent. Yeah, but basically that the Hawkeye. Oh, I had a question for you. I had to tell you something, Hawkeye. Basically that the science folks are very worried too, because it's really hard to auto caption scientific jargon, and so basically all that's going to have to be done by hand as well. And they're not necessarily right. It's yeah. So anyway, I am not opposed to closed captions, and I'm very glad they're saying closed captions, not open captions. I think that's really good. That shows that they do care about accessibility. But they are using this could be implemented better, and they could pay for it. Really, that's just really what it is. They should be paying for this. Is really what I would argue. And then if they paid for it, we'd still have to do a bunch of work, but, you know, it would be, we'd get professionals doing it, and it would be better. Like, that's all. I just think that this should be paid for by the university. All this chemical, yeah, that could be brutal. So, right, that's like a thing that, and that's why I think that even if we hired someone to do the captions, a number of like, sciences, music probably have to do a lot of self-checking, double-checking, but, you know, still, I think it would be better. But, you know, they didn't ask. By the way, almost there. We just have to do this, and then we're gonna be done. And we just get back to the ship, and then it's everything in our life is good. I wonder how you get into doing closed caption. Oh, there are companies. I know a number of people who have done that work. They work at closed caption companies. Oh, I will see you soon. Hasta la vista. Hasta luego. Our Hawkeye. Okay, so let's go and do this. This thing is very, very, very hardy. And also, just do a lot of shooting. Nice. Oh gosh. Okay. All right. What else do we have? What else is going on? Okay. It's good. Where are we? What's left? Where's our drone? Where are they? Drone. I wanted to chat with you. I think we're good. We're fine. It's okay. I'm not worried about it. I have a friend that should do freelance subtitle timing for an anime district. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, and like I have software, so I can do it, and I have done it because I once I wanted my students to watch this film that did not have the English subtitles, that was in Spanish, and so I know how to do it. It just takes a while. Do you know what I mean? It's just time consuming. That's all. And you know, it is what it is. But I got that done, and I just have to finish. I've got the reader for my prison class finished. I just have to get audio files sent to them because the prison officials need to see everything. Make sure that I don't do anything inappropriate. Hi. Gosh. No. Okay. Wow. That was close. That was close, everybody. That was close. Ooh, I was dying. And kind of still dying. Yeah. Okay. We are going back to the ship. We are. And I just need to not be dead. And, look. We are being very efficient these last 15 minutes. Just gonna say it. Yeah, so anyway, all that's done. I've got to go put together a couple other things, but... oh, you know what I have to do? Sorry, I need to go down to the police department and get a background check done. Because I'm going to be working with high school students in Canada in August. So I've got, like, doing some volunteer work, and I need to get a background check done. So... all of that. You know, I'm just saying there's some stuff going on, but it'll be fine. And I just need to remind myself to do that. Yeah. But I, look, here, boom, right? This, just, ta-da! Here we go. Ta-da! Look, yay! And all in use. Also, I feel like there's some kind of saboteur that is doing sabotagey kinds of things. And we're gonna just go right now. We're done. We're basically gonna just ask a couple questions and then leave. And activate the turbines. And lots of XP. And
Sure don't see that every day, Captain.
Dr. Lowe. Whoop. I know, but this was the summer. Because here's the thing, the summer is normally my time to do what I want to do, and I was like, great, I'm going to do what I want to do in the summer. I'm going to do this volunteer thing, and I'm going to do this and this and this, and I was like, this is my summer. And then they just decided, by the way, we're not paid in the summer. Like, we are paid over the summer, but we're not paid for the summer. We are on a 9-month contract, so we're only paid for the non-summer months. So the summer months are our own to do with what we will. But, you know. Anyway, it's just like, it's 1 week. I'm just doing 1 week of volunteering to get some high school students motivated, and I'm very excited about it. And
The facility's back on the grid, and my pipes again floweth with the sweet, sweet essence of my salvation.
yeah.
I suppose I have you to thank for realigning the machine. Of course, Jasper, you imbecile.
Basically, all the work to get the captioning stuff ready, all the stuff for the prison thing, all that stuff is happening in the summer when it should not be. You know what I mean? And also a whole bunch of extra meetings. A bunch of
my
things.
voice to get into the chem lab. I'm obviously not coming with you, so I'm giving you a recording of my dulcet speech.
Great, thank you.
This recording should get you into the chem lab.
Thank you.
I hope whatever you're after is worth the trauma. I wouldn't go back there if I was higher than the mercury levels in a can of salt tuna.
My.
Wait, take my gun while you're at it.
Oh.
If you end up dying on Gorgon, there's a non-zero chance I'll feel partially responsible. Neither of us want that.
Okay. I need help with security in the chem lab. I know that you know that place better than anyone.
Die, perhaps? Automechanical sentries are generally programmed to ignore corpses. I don't like the idea of going back to that place, to that life.
I'm gonna see the name
I know
game.
it's not me risking my throat gallivanting around Gorgon. It's you, for whatever madcap reasons you've got. I've helped you once, and I don't feel great about it. I made a clean break from Gorgon, and now it feels like you're asking me to tether myself back to that place.
Jasper, let me worry about Gorgon. Helping me could help you move on.
I suppose you've got a point. Or something resembling a point. I'm emotionally addled right now, and I'm allowing my sentiments to get the better of me. Here, my personal security keycard.
Oh, I'm gonna sing.
There's a hallway near the processing room. It leads to a security terminal. Use this keycard to unlock the hallway and disable security.
Thank you.
Even if I wanted to talk about Project
Colonel's like,
Gorgon,
oh, I see. It's a job you get paid for that's cheating by
all my
making you do
memories of
work they
Gorgon
aren't
are
paying you for.
intact, but they're in disarray. Like a book
Yeah.
with its pages shuffled.
Yeah.
Making sense of those memories requires clarity of mind. Clarity that only Sky High gives me. To tell you everything I know, I'd have to be dangerously euphoric.
Well, I'm not going to try to get you there. So, can you at least give me the formula for adrenatime?
Surely you jest.
Oh,
Even were I inclined to teach you, which I am not,
okay.
you wouldn't be able to replicate an alternative to Compound X. The compound is derived from the metabolic waste of xenocytes, a microbial life form growing beneath the surface of Gorgon.
Interesting.
However, they're accursedly sensitive to their ecosystem.
No xenocytes means no compound X. No compound means no adrenatime.
Exactly. When Project
Okay.
Gorgon was active, corporates' varied attempts to port xenocytes off-world killed them. Every time.
Interesting.
And even were one able to cultivate xenocytes in a petri dish,
Interesting.
they'd need millions to refine even a dash of the compound. We mined immense amounts of Compound X directly from subterranean caverns in Gorgon.
Interesting.
So you see, there is no adrenatime without Project Gorgon.
That's probably good, right?
As I mentioned before,
Right? That's
my
probably a
memories
good
of
thing.
Gorgon are in disarray. Putting them back together is an ordeal. Making sense of those memories requires
Yeah, no, I don't want
never
to.
mind indeed.
I'm not going to get you all super high on drugs right now. Like, I just feel like I'm not going to do that. But I am going to raid this entire place and then get back on the ship because we're closing now. Other Doc, I have to tell you something. It's really important. The name game. Come on, everybody. Say now, let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name, I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F, or an M will appear. And then I say Bo at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fanner, and foe. Then I say the name again with an F very plain, then a fee, fi, and a mo. Then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. Other Doc, Brother Doc, banana, fanner, fo, father Doc, fee, fi, mo, mother Doc. Other Doc, the name game. Eee. Okay, so I had to sing the name game. Look, Other Doc, you're just helping me out because you're giving me an excuse to sing the name game, which I feel like is important, and that's what that's about. Yes. Okay, key cards. It does, right? Other Doc works well. There's a workbench here, but I'm not going to use it because I don't need to. We're just going to go and see what's up. Looks like it's great. We've gotten out of here. We're going to go back to our ship. Because I feel like we've raided everything and there's nowhere else to go. We're leaving. See, I've been very, very responsible. Where's our way out? Is it... How do we get out of here? You know what? I've got a map. This is simple. There's a map. We get out of here by going... we probably want to go down to a lower level, right? Yes, we need to get to the lower level. So from here, we need to just head down some stairs, which I think we can do, right? We just have to go down some stairs. That's it. That's it. Downstairs. Not downstairs. Look, we're gonna go downstairs. We're gonna find the stairs that go down. So we're not gonna talk about the external versus internal locus of control. We're not gonna do that right now. We're gonna do that on Thursday when everything happens. Good. Downstairs. 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 I kind of feel like the way downstairs is... I don't... y'all. Yeah, well, no, it's Dr. Nerdlove said a thing, which I think is... Can we get down here this way? Let's see if this will take us where we need to go. I suspect it won't. We need to get through that other stairwell, but... Lone Crew, we will see you later. Okay, look, no, we're here. Hey, I think we made it. Yes, we did. We made it. We're out. Y'all, see? We're done. Just a tad later than we should have, but we're gonna. And I'll give you all the rundown on what we're up to. Yes, we did it. This way I can say we did a compound mission today. And next Saturday, we will finish Gorgon, right? Yeah, I'm done. Yeah, technically, it's true. But that hour deadline was so short. Okay, so it's me, Dribble SJP. And I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank you for like such a lovely, complicated conversation. And let's save. Let's save. Right here. Saving. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I know. I missed stream, so I was going to chat a lot. And this was like a really interesting conversation because I don't know what you do about people who've done bad things. Or people who have to do bad things in order to do good things. Or people who do good things and do bad things. Like, I don't know what you do about all of them. But, you know, I always feel like, what are our long-term goals, right? And what are our motivations? And let's do our very best. That's all. And yeah, it's hard for me to stick to a deadline when I've missed 2 streams. It's hard. Because because look, you guys are people that I hang out with. Like you're my battle buddies, and you know, I still want to talk about external versus internal locus control. Jared says, by the way, my niece's online handle is Jezza, so I smirk returns. Oh, nice. What's what? So tomorrow is Sunday. I'll be running Spy Team 67, which I'm going to go right now and get some food and then do prep for, and then that's at noon Eastern on my channel. And then Sunday evening at 8 p.m. over at Praxigo the Smophoria's channel will be Witcher, the last episode. No, it's not. No, we do not have The Witcher on Sunday. I'm so sorry. We don't have The Witcher on Sunday because of 4th of July. So just Spy Team 67 tomorrow. And then the next time you can... And then Monday night at 9 o'clock, I think it is, will be over at We Are Nerdsmith. I'm going to be on their talk show chatting. So Monday night, if you don't have 4th of July things that you want to hang out, you can hang out with me at We Are Nerdsmith. I need to double check time zones. And then Wednesday will be Upon the Hexhamshire Moors over at Laugh Love Lindy at 8 p.m. Thursday will be, I have to tell you this, Thursday is not going to be the Long Dark. Thursday is not going to be the Long Dark, everybody, because I was asked to do a vampire visual novel by the creator. It was like, would you play this game? And I was like, sure. So for July, we're going to take a brief pause on the Long Dark. I'm going to play this vampire visual novel. And I asked Lindy, who loves vampires, if she wants to come and like read text with me. So I think she's going to join me for that visual novel. We'll do some visual novel theater on Thursday. And then Friday will be Night's Black Agent solo with Grimjack. And that's it. And the cast for Spy Team 67 is the same as before, but Josh can't make it. So it's going to be Fuzzy Freaks and Draconics and Susanna Grace. And is it the New York one? Is it the New York one? Which one? Which one? Which one? New York one what? New York one what? Who? What? New York? What? VTM Code of New York, I think is the title. Oh no, it's not. It's a visual novel, like an indie visual novel called like Twice Reborn. I think is what it's called. I've got the title. Oh, and I've got a giveaway code too, so I can actually also give away a Steam code for one of the people who are watching. Oh, and so that's gonna be the excitement. But here's the thing: because we didn't do it, I want to do a raid, and I want to raid Luxie. Oh, I suppose it was indie too, wasn't it? You're right. It's a little tiny one. Yeah, using Renpy. It's from the Renpy scene. So we're gonna go and raid Luxie Games because Luxie's awesome, and I want you all to give her a hey if you can. And this is our raid command to remind you. And we're gonna give a raid to be good citizens. And I want to thank you all for being really wonderful, like being really great and thoughtful. And I appreciate also, you all had a really complicated discussion about religion in the Discord, which by the way we have. And I want to say thanks for having such a really great and interesting conversation while I was dealing with my car accident. But you can find me here, right? Trooper SJP on YouTube, Academic Foxhole on Twitter, Academic Foxhole on Patreon, which is the Patreon to help pay for all the games I'm doing, pay for the casts mostly. And that's it. We're going to go and do this raid. So take care of yourselves, and I will catch you on the flip side and say hi to Luxie. All right. Because there's something coming. Bye, everybody. You're so great, and you're awesome. And we'll see you soon. Bye, everybody. We're like 3 seconds. Mostly 3 seconds.